You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Hey, happy Friday here from bestbet St. Augustine. I hope you're doing well and having a fantastic week. Heading into another weekend here in the middle of the summer. You only got a couple left before that football starts. Really have a few more than us, most likely, and a few more than the Jags coming up here in later July as the Jaguars get ready for training camp 2024. Under Doug Peterson will be the third one. Brent Martineau here, Austin Lane back in the Action Sports Shack studios on a Friday, and kind of a chill-out Friday here in the summer, Austin. We should probably do this one from the beach.
I mean, a little toasty, I feel like, for the beach, kind of putting the equipment in harm's way a little bit. You just got a new mixer, Brent. Don't want to put that to bad shame now with the heat and humidity.
Yeah, probably not a good idea, actually. And we like hanging here in a nice, cool Best Bet St. Augustine. This part of the area won't be open until about 11:30, but everything is opening up here in just a little bit, or really right about now, at Best Bet St. Augustine. World Series of Poker time, by the way, in the poker world. It's been running for the last couple of weeks, really been running for a long time, but the main event going on in Vegas will wrap up next week. In the mid stages of the week. Are you a World Series of Poker guy? You got a favorite poker player?
We brought this up before with Texas Dolly, but you didn't know who that was. Phil Ivey is one of the greats. Daniel Negreanu, I think his name was one of the cool guys, but I'm a Texas Dolly guy myself, man. Phil Hellmuth was good for the game. You know, they called him the poker brat, but I'm not sure. I haven't really followed the personalities lately. I always feel like back in the mid 2000s to, I guess, 2010s, you had all your personalities. I mean, I think it was Daniel Negreanu was in one of the X-Men movies playing poker, just because he was kind of a household name for a while. So I don't really know the names these days. I'm not sure if the legends are still playing and everything, but I do know. Man, this is probably 5-6 years ago. A Jacksonville dude was really featured in the World Series of Poker where he was at the final table. I can't remember if he won it or not, but I know he was up there in terms of the rankings.
Yeah, I don't think he won it, and the name escapes me. You're right. That was, just a few years ago, I think. It feels like yesterday. I don't know how long ago it was now, but you're right. That was kind of fun in the mix. It's funny how, poker has that feel. Las Vegas obviously started with that whole vibe, or it feels like it did. Obviously, the gambling vibe, too, and how that's morphed into just this big city and a lot more than just that. It used to feel like it was just that. I think people still identify with it, but it's kind of like a vibe and a culture. Those guys, the names that you just named, have the whole movie vibe, right? The whole I got to wear, I got to be incognito, my poker face. I've got to have kind of a character along with me with some of these guys. So it's been kind of a cool scene to watch and see where it goes, and still very popular. By the way, 2023 coming off a huge year in the sport of poker as well. So they will crown a World Series of Poker champion coming up here in the month of July. Brent Martineau here, Austin Lane there, and a couple things today to get to that I saw. ESPN must be coming out with just a litany of, hey, let's fill time before the training camp gap, and which is just kind of the nature of the world in today's NFL. You don't have to fill too many spots, too many quiet spots, but this is certainly one of them. And they brought up the tight end rankings, and I was kind of interested. Okay, where's Evan Ingram going to sit on this? Because I think some of the metrics show, hey, the numbers maybe not as good as people, or it looks, and if you deep dive into the numbers, they're not as sexy as people want them to be in today's day and age of football. He was on the top 10 list. I think he came in at number 8, but it actually kind of started a different topic and for me, because how important do you think Evan Ingram is to this offense in Jacksonville?
I mean, I think he's huge. I think when Doug Peterson has had the most success and played in a Super Bowl, it was off the receptions and then the yards off his tight ends. Because, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit, when they were plus 4,000, whatever the case may be, to win the Super Bowl. A big question going into that season for Doug Peterson and the Eagles was, did they have the go-to receiver? Did they have the receivers to help Carson Wentz elevate his game? Well, it was really the tight end position that gave Carson Wentz his confidence, that helped elevate his game. Obviously, Carson Wentz goes down with an injury. Nick Foles comes in. I think he used some of that, tight end magic as well, and a lot of their success was branched out from that. So I think Evan Ingram in this offense is immensely important.
So, if you think of tight ends who matter to their offense, and you just said schematically, right? If you go back to Philadelphia, if you go the way Doug uses the tight ends, it certainly makes sense. But if you now go to the current landscape, we can't get past Travis Kelce, right? Travis Kelce is so important to Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. To me, it's the separator. And even when you had Tyreek Hill, who also was a separator, and even if he had a bunch of weapons, Kelce is so good. And he turned it on. It looked like he was toward the end, and then he really turned it on in the postseason. Big reason why they won. Big reason why Mahomes has been who he has been. Mahomes is brilliant, but I don't think he does it without a guy like Travis Kelce to this point. It'll be very interesting when he has to replace that weapon going forward in his career. So I think Travis Kelce has to be number one on this list. Who else comes to mind?
You got Kittle, obviously. You got Mark Andrews. You got Sam Laporta. Hawkinson, when he's healthy, was a big guy for the Vikings. Who am I missing here? Goddard for the but they kind of work him in because they got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown as well. Those are really the ones that stick out to me. Obviously, now I think going forward with Kincaid and Knox is going to have to be huge in Buffalo, but those are really the names. Oh, I guess then you can throw in David Njoku as well. When the Browns really started finding their groove, obviously Mari Cooper was playing big, but also David Njoku. So those are kind of the guys that stick out to me. You can call 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah, okay. Well, you didn't. You just rattled off a bunch of them. But so let's go through some of those guys just real quick in my mind. It's okay. You don't. It's good that you rattled off a bunch of them.
Well, I said 8 or 9. Yeah,
so,
I was like 8.
Yeah. So Kelce is number one on this list. But when you bring up Kittle, it kind of in my mind at least, I'm not telling you he's not important. I'm saying vastly important. San Francisco is still going to tick even without him, most likely. Or I feel like they could find a replacement. Now, he's very good, but they have so many weapons. Sure. I actually was thinking of this yesterday when we were talking about San Francisco. They might have one of the best. They might be set up weaponry-wise outside of the quarterback position, because we still don't know fully about that. Weapon-wise, they might be one of the best in NFL history, right? So, and Kittle adds to that. I'm not taking away from him here, but we're kind of, being a little nitpicky. I just think that offense clicks even without Kittle if you put in name your tight end. How about you?
No, I hear you, but keep in mind, George Kittle had the most receiving yards last year at the tight end position. So even though they're a really dynamic offense in San Francisco and it really goes through Christian McCaffrey, I think George Kittle was close to being just as important in that offense. He obviously takes the middle of the field and makes it his. And keep in mind, too, with George Kittle, he's a great receiving threat. He's a great deep threat, but he's also a great run blocker as well. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. There's so many places you can go in San Fran, but I think the fact that he was the leading receiver last year at the tight end position says a lot about what they think about him.
All right, so let's keep going down the list. I like what you said about Njoku. I think he's quiet here, but he's, I think, a big part of what they did last year, especially during their run. I know what you mean about Mark Andrews. I think he's so talented, but they replaced him rather easily. Is that more of a compliment to Likely, or is that more of a plug-and-play inside their offense? What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of both. When you talk about the Ravens offense running 2 tight end sets all the time, it keeps defenses on their toes. Are you going to run the ball or are you going to pass the ball? So I think when Likely was thrown in there, this was a guy coming out of college who was known to be pretty an athletic receiving threat, a little questionable in the blocking game and a little questionable in terms of where he played, if his game would translate to the NFL. But I think he found the perfect system in Baltimore where it doesn't really matter what tight end you have there, that they're going to have success. We talk about Hayden Hurst from the past. Josh Oliver has had success. We didn't have success here. So I think Mark Andrews is still a hell of a tight end, and when he's in there, he's definitely the best one. But they also play in a system that's very tight end friendly.
All right. The one that I think you mentioned and I saw on this list too, and everybody would put him on this list, who made an immediate impact, and I think actually makes maybe even a bigger difference in the success of their offense, at least to this point, than even Evan Ingram, and not more than Travis Kelce, but probably would be second on my list. And I want to know what you think about it, but it's Laporta. I thought Laporta, what he did to add the dynamic of that offense. Again, this isn't just productivity, all right? I mean, productivity happens in a lot of ways. What I'm saying is, what does their offense look without that guy? The mismatch problem, right? The X's and O's part of it. Can you plug and play another tight end in that system? I kind of feel like you can a little bit more in San Fran, a little bit more in Baltimore, heck, maybe even a little bit more in Cleveland, but I'm not sure you can exactly in Detroit. I think what they're trying to accomplish, I think Laporta was identified to help them accomplish that for specific reasons.
I mean, this is a major thumbs up to Dan Campbell and that organization, because obviously, you know, where they drafted him and then they let go of T.J. Hockenson, or essentially they trade T.J. Hockenson in the division, and everyone's like, are they just throwing away the season? They're going to rely on this Sam Laporta? Well, Sam Laporta, second in receptions and had the most touchdowns last year as a tight end, especially as a rookie, which is kind of unheard of. You know, I mean, I remember the Noah Fant, TJ Hockenson draft, and, you know, people felt a certain type of way. I thought Noah Fant was going to be the real deal, because when you run a 4.5, you can't teach speed. I thought that would translate to the NFL. He's had an okay career, but not illustrious career, I would call it. Hockenson, on the other side, has been one of the best tight ends, I think, when he's been healthy in the NFL. But once again, you have a guy in Sam Laporta come in right away and make a difference. It's rare. We're not accustomed to seeing it. Like, we didn't see it with Kelsey. We didn't really see it with Andrews. Like, it takes a while to develop at the tight end position in the NFL. Sam Laporta hit the ground running, and, yeah, obviously makes that offense a lot more dynamic when you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, you know, can run the entire route tree, and it's kind of your go-to, almost like a Keenan Allen was with the Chargers. It's going to help out Sam Laporta as well. So, yeah, it adds another wrinkle to that Lions offense. Obviously, they have the receiving game at the running back. They have the run game. They have the offensive line. They have the receivers. And now they have the tight end as well.
Yeah, Hockenson you brought up. I think obviously he's a key contributor and a very talented guy. He's a top 10 pick for a reason. Maybe he is more of a difference maker. I feel like he's had an interesting career because of injuries. Then Lions to Vikings. Like, why would you trade him? It's kind of a weird deal to me. And now we'll see. I think there's two guys on this list, T.J. Hockenson and Dalton Kincaid, Austin, that because of the nature and makeup of their rosters now in Buffalo and Minnesota, I wonder if these guys will become more Kelsey-like, and the quarterbacks will really have to lean on them. Now, obviously, in Minnesota, you also have Justin Jefferson. But I think in Buffalo specifically, Kincaid could become a big weapon for Josh Allen now that Diggs is gone and even Gabe Davis is gone.
Oh, no, he's definitely going to have to. You know, I mean, say what you want about Stephon Diggs, but that's going to leave an immense hole in that receiving group. And then obviously, too, you're losing Gabe Davis. That's a lot of targets and a lot of receptions now that are going to be wide open. And, you know, the Bills receiving core right now, a little unproven. A little, I think, you know, on the secondary side, we'll see. Obviously, they just drafted a guy from Florida State, so we'll see what he does. But overall, yeah, they're going to have to rely a lot more on their tight ends. I mean, I think that they're going to have the blueprint of what Baltimore's trying to do. You know, be a power run team, pound the rock, and then get your tight ends involved. That's what Baltimore does really well, and I think Buffalo could follow that same scheme as well.
All right, so that brings us to Evan Ingram. And Ingram is interesting in this conversation. I think overall, in the history of this organization, they've had some nice tight ends over the years. I mean, from Brady to Mercedes to now Evan Ingram, and there have been some others in between. But there have also been some misses on the tight end position, and it's been kind of a vacant position at times, especially in the last 15 years. Once Mercedes Lewis moved on and became more of a blocking guy anyway, outside of the one big year, I think it was in 2010. And Ingram now gives this team he's setting tight end records every single year, which is crazy, but also fantastic. Coming over here, it's one of the great free agent signings, I think, already in Jaguars history. So listen to the write-up on him, because, again, there's lukewarm reaction outside because of some of these metrics and the short yardage stuff and everything else. Ingram led his position with 143 targets, 114 receptions, 19 more than any other tight end, which is ridiculous. I mean, we should probably weight that a little bit, along with the yards after catch, which are so good. This is an interesting stat. Jacksonville asked Ingram to carry the offense at times with 558 routes run, by far the most for a tight end in the National Football League. Austin, what does that say about the mismatches that he creates and about how much Doug can't take him off the field. And maybe does that mean he becomes one of the most pivotal players to actually stay healthy and on the field for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
No, without a doubt. But I'm also curious if they're counting routes ran in terms of if he stayed in to kind of help pass protect and then kind of branch out a little bit and then get into a route, because that's where a lot of his passes came from, was people want to call it the check down or whatever, and I'm sure the analytics would agree to that. But no, it's definitely immensely important. When you have a guy put up that type of numbers, that's telling you that the quarterback is very comfortable with him. Now, I think that the biggest comfort blanket of Christian Kirk was out a lot of that season, so somebody had to fill that role. You wish it would have been Calvin Ridley. Unfortunately, just didn't happen like that. So is Evan Ingram. So I think going forward, once again, I've said Doug Peterson loves to use the tight end position, loves to use it in different ways, and if you can get two tight ends out there at the same time, even better. So I don't think this is going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think him and Trevor Lawrence have now built up a rapport, and I'm not saying we're going to see the exact repeat in receptions next year or this up-and-coming season, because if you do, I think that could be kind of trouble, because then we're asking the questions of, like, all right, what happened to Brian Thomas Jr.? What happened to Christian Kirk? What happened to Gabe Davis? So I'm not going to expect another monumental reception check-down type of year to Evan Ingram, but I still envision him being super dynamic and maybe even upping his touchdown total from last year.
You know, you just said something I think is fascinating and interesting, and I think if I were to just say it as a headline, it would sound bad, but it's not. I don't want Evan Ingram catching 114 passes this year. And I don't think the Jags want Evan Ingram catching 114 passes this year. That was a necessity out of the injuries that they did have and piled up between Zay Jones and Christian Kirk at the end of the year. And really the necessity of the inability to run. They almost used him as an extension of the run game at times because they couldn't get a yard or two or sometimes four in the power situation. So, yeah, I think you're right on the money there, Austin. I mean, I do not think they want 100. If he gets 114 catches, somebody else isn't performing or somebody else got hurt, because that's not the ball distribution I think we would write it up as in Jacksonville. Now, I think he might just naturally have 75 to 85 catches here in Jacksonville in this offense. And the write-up on Ingram continues to say, and again, these are some of the things we know, but I think it's always, some of these guys get overlooked in all the different conversations we've had. It's been a busy offseason in Jacksonville. But, man, every time someone brings up the name of Evan Ingram, I'm like, gosh, we got to continue to talk about this guy, because he has been so good for this franchise, so good for Doug, so good for Trevor in the last couple of years. In the locker room, I think, too, but also on the field in his production. The quote is he's a matchup problem. You can't put a linebacker on him. An AFC executive said, you put him on shallow crossers, get the ball out quickly in space and on screens, and he can do damage. And so, you can criticize play calling. You can criticize Doug and Press and everything else from time to time. Everybody's going to do that. But I think this is where you applaud the matchup of what Doug and Press and this offensive scheme is trying to create, Austin, and they are utilizing it these last couple of years. They are taking advantage of it, and I like that. I mean, you got to do what you do well, and what they do well is they have a guy that's a really tough matchup in that spot, along with some of their other weapons, and he has absolutely produced in that spot. But I think that's a little bit of a nod to Doug and Press, too.
No, without a doubt. It's definitely a nod to Doug and Press, because we've seen him in New York not being used and not getting the receptions even close to what he has in Jacksonville. So it's definitely a testament to the scheme and the play calling as well. And we've seen this in the NFL. If you want to be a successful team, if you want to make deep runs in the playoffs, usually, I'm not saying it's every single time, but a common denominator in a lot of great teams is the use of the tight end at a very high level. And I think the Jaguars have that with Evan Ingram.
Yeah, one last part about this also is, let me see, what does it say? This surprised me. He had 8 drops, second most for tight ends, Austin. I would not have thought that, right? I mean, he had a drop problem where people labeled him like that coming out of New York. That has not been an issue. Now, I can visualize one or two, and there were a couple like bad drops, oh my gosh, type of drops. But
Tennessee game,
the actual number that's Yeah. But his target percentage and catch rate is actually one of the highest in the National Football League. So the drops don't stand out to me. And I guess if you're going to have 143 targets, you have more opportunities to drop some.
You are, and it seems like drops were kind of a common thing last year for a lot of the players on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, I'm not sure if that goes into the EPA or not. I'm not sure if that analytic can go in there, but it would explain a lot. It's one of those things where that has to get cleaned up, and it's unfortunate because when you talk about Evan Ingram, like that was kind of one of the things that was known about him in New York as well. You know, it's like, all right, well, can you just in the offseason, can you just catch more balls in the juggling machine? You'll be fine. Like, ideally, that'd be great. But sometimes I feel like if you fumble or if you drop passes, like that kind of sticks with you a little bit. But hopefully he can definitely clean it up and even increase on, you know, because I don't think it was as bad as it was in New York per se, but you still want to clean it up as much as possible.
Yeah, and here's why we probably perception-wise, first of all, he's caught a lot of passes, right? Perception-wise, he looks like such a security blanket, almost a savior in the offense at times toward the back end of last season. And then maybe this statistic is what stands out in our minds a little bit more to just wrap up this article. On 8 tight window throws, he caught 5 of them, whatever that's classified as according to Next Gen Stats. So in traffic, he also made some fantastic catches, and he did have some highlight reel catches. The 62% success rate in that category was the best amongst tight ends. So maybe those things dwarf a couple of drops here and there. So again, we've talked plenty about Evan Ingram. We'll continue to talk plenty about Evan Ingram. It just got brought up today, and honestly, don't think you can talk enough about Evan Ingram. I think he's been that good in Jacksonville. And this offense has a chance to be really dynamic. But I think you can start asking the question, Austin, like, who's irreplaceable on offense? And obviously, Trevor, we start there, just eliminate him from the conversation. But 3 guys come to mind in terms of they're irreplaceable on offense. ETN, Ingram, and I think based off what we saw last year in the late season swoon, once Kirk went down, it kind of feels like Kirk could be irreplaceable on offense too.
Absolutely. But I think the hope is that now you can incorporate Brent and Strange into 2 tight end sets, and Brent and Strange can get some of that reception love as well. You know, I mean, once again, like, yes, Evan Ingram is going to be a huge part of this offense going forward, but I would love to see Brent and Strange get used a little more as well. And that way, now if you're a linebacker, if you're a safety, well, who do I have to stop? Evan Ingram or Brent Strange?
All right, good stuff on Evan Ingram. Trevor Lawrence talking ahead of the American Century Championships in Lake Tahoe. What did he have to say to NFL Network? Josh Hines-Allen making the rounds. I mean, he was like on every national show that exists this week, and really the last couple of days. He's on like a media blitz right now. Stop on by, Josh. He's on a media blitz with the national folks, a little bit of a car wash, and some of the thoughts that he had on Josh Allen, on the Rich Eisen show, on Trevor Lawrence, and also the name change. We have a conversation with Tyler Lacey today, caught up with a second-year player out of Oklahoma State, and could he make an impact? A forgotten name from last year's draft. Could he make an impact on this year's roster? So we've got a lot to get to, a lot of football stuff, but also some fun stuff on a Friday. Why not? Let's chill out, hang out, sit back, relax, enjoy the day. And if you're already kicking off the weekend in style, well, you can join us from home. You can check us out on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and more. Then right there on YouTube and Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network with ActionNewsJacks.com and the Action News Jacks app. Let's hang out here from Best Bet St. Augustine a little bit more, all the way until 1 o'clock today on a Friday. We'll take a break. The Brent and Austen Show here from Best Bet St. Augustine. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Oh, man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh, my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out gwoutdoorliving.com for your free estimate.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. BoldCityAC.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to Best Bet St. Augustine. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane, back in the Action Sports Shack studios. Nick in the daytime with us as well here on a Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. I think YB 400 jumping in and says Trevor can make players good. Ingram been having career season since he's been in Jacksonville. No doubt about it. I mean, that's the thing. I start to wonder a little bit about Ingram. I don't want to get overly crazy. I said Kirk, too, has been having career highs. Yeah, Kirk was on pace. I think people forget that. Kirk was on pace to have a career year last year after already having a career year. I still think it's pretty amazing that Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, and Kirk had career years all in the same season in 2022 with Trevor Lawrence. Like, that can't go unnoticed. And it also goes back to our conversation this week about Trent Baalke and free agency. I mean, you talk about some hits on free agency when those guys are having career years in year number one. I mean, it's good stuff. Now, can they get back there? Zay, for obvious reasons, won't and didn't because of injury, but Ingram did, and Kirk was about to. I mean, they really were about to go back-to-back career years with those two guys before the injury to Kirk. Now we'll see if they can do it again. And listen, we just said it. Ingram's not going to top what he did last year, so career receptions ain't going to be it. But you can still do it in a different way and still contribute in a big way. If he's able to do that in year 3, I mean, he just goes to, in 3 years' time, it feels a little bit like Calais in that sense, Austin. 3 years feels like 15 years in a Jaguars uniform just based off production, doesn't it?
No, I mean, it's insane what a guy as a free agent has come in here and done. I remember, it was Julius Thomas, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of expected him to kind of come in and do the same thing. Unfortunately, it didn't come to fruition, but yeah, Evan Ingram's earned every single penny, it seems like, of that contract so far.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. All right. Well, meanwhile, a big part of that would be, the Jags doing well is Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines-Allen. We're going to get to some reaction from those guys. I think we have Trevor. We're going to go Trevor first just to stay on the offensive side of things. Here's the deal. He was on NFL Network last night. Doug was on the previous night. They're catching up with these guys at Lake Tahoe, which is a great place to camp out, by the way. If you're NFL Network, you got a bunch of NFL stars there that are playing in the American Century Championships. Doug and Trevor will tee it up today out there in Tahoe. And let's listen to Trevor Lawrence talking a little bit about this upcoming season after what has been a monumental offseason for that young man between the announcement of having a baby, and now we find out it's a baby girl, but also this mega contract and the trust of the organization in him for years and years to come.
That's the name. One thing I want to ask you about, because Doug did mention this yesterday, and it was on just the fade at the back end of the last season, where he said it's going to burn for a long time until we get to meaningful games again and start playing in September. For you and for all the other players, what about getting that taste out of your mouth by being more consistent through the season?
Yeah, obviously to finish the way we did last year this sucks. You put a lot of work in starting in April, all the way through and then to training camp and then throughout the whole season, put yourself in position to make the playoffs, to win the division, whatever it is, and to not be able to finish and finish the job. That sucks because you put a lot of work in, and to see it all go to waste and you guys sit at home and watch everybody else play. That stings a little bit, and you remember that, and it gives you some motivation in going to the next season. But at the same time, I think you use it as fuel, but you also have to learn from it and move on. We have another set of challenges this year, and we can't hang our hats on what happened last year. We got to build that edge and find that consistency that's going to push us forward this season and get us to where we want to go. Because it seems like we just lost a little bit of juice at the end of the season. Obviously, a lot of injuries, a lot of things happen throughout the year, but there's no excuse. You go out there Sunday, you have a job to do, and you got to go find a way to win the game and find a way to make the playoffs so you can go on a run. And we weren't able to do that last year, and looking forward to doing that this year.
So that is Trevor Lawrence, and I know that was a big part of a 5-minute clip. I can't hear it out here. Austin, what did he say? When did Nick pick? Yeah. Which direction are we going?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's just a big proponent of kind of using how last year ended as a little bit of motivation, which I'm all for. They always say that you're only as good as your last game, and the Jaguars in the last game last year, it was not a good performance. So, as football players, you're always taught you play the next play, you're on to the next one, the next one's the best one, and all that stuff. But sometimes we can let the past be motivation a little bit, and I think that's what you're going to have here in training camp. When you start reaching those dog days of 95-degree temperatures, everyone's kind of just drained and exhausted. You go back to that Tennessee game, put a Tennessee highlight on there, and say, this can't happen again. So I think you have a team now that feels like the underdog, that has the chip on their shoulder, and I think if you're a Jaguars fan, that's exactly where you want your team to be.
All right, so I always have this question, right? Does that work? Just simply, does that work? Can you take last year's stuff? I'm sure these are age-old kind of psychological things to try to get people motivated. You're looking for different ways. We all do it in everyday life. We didn't have to lose 5 out of 6, and we weren't all part of that. But there's other things that go on in your life you get motivated by, right? You get a little chip on your shoulder by. You get up a little extra juice in the morning because of. So a lot of people do those things. I guess what I'm wondering, it seems like so long ago now, that will the Jags really use that? Can they use that? Did they use that in the weight room? Was it more in the team room? Will it impact them as we start camp on July 24th, Austen?
I mean, it definitely will impact them, because until this team can establish who exactly they are and the leadership in that locker room and what the gold standard is going to be, you're going to need some of that outside motivation to kind of push you through that a little bit. So I absolutely think that it's going to be beneficial in terms of how that Titans game ended. You know, they always say you win or you learn, and hopefully this team has learned a lot from that game, and we're not going to see a repeat performance this year.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting to me is I don't know if it helps on Sundays, because I think Sundays are just so new in itself. You know, everybody says like week-to-week league, 24-hour rule. There's a reason for that, right? I mean, I'm not sure you're going to still be carrying that into Sundays. But what I've sensed is in some of the conversation from Trevor right there to other guys that we've talked to coming out of OTAs is they felt like there was a little bit of a demeanor, a more business-like demeanor. And that, I think, is human nature, right? And starts at the top down, because if you're coming off 2022 and everything's feeling good and you're excited about the year, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with trying to build off that momentum. And by the way, the Jags did a pretty good job of building off that momentum. They got off to an 8-3 start. So I'm not criticizing the way they approached the 2023 season. I think it actually worked for them. But it also feels and sounds like there's a little bit more serious tone coming off last year, like, hey, this is our time, and we're not going to waste another opportunity. So I almost feel like their approach to this upcoming camp and what OTAs and anything around this headquarters and in the building and meeting rooms has kind of shifted a little bit in that respect, Austen.
Yeah, I mean, call it whatever you want. Did they get comfortable towards the end of that season with the Bengals? Did you think you're going to the playoffs already? You think you had it made? I mean, that could be a possibility, right? But I think when expectations aren't reached, whether it's in a football team and in a regular company, there has to be a change. There has to be a shift in terms of mindset and how you go about your business. And I think you'll see that. They probably already felt that during OTAs, but you're definitely going to see that in training camp and going into the season. No, the Tennessee Titans game isn't going to motivate them for the week one against the Miami Dolphins, but everything up until that point, it can. And that's the most important part. Like, you're not just going to go, in the off season, go to training camp and then go play Miami. Like, there's a buildup. There's the work that needs to be put in. And that work is where you find your motivation of last season.
Yeah, I can see that. I get the feel, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, we'll see. I mean, everything sounds good this time of year until it actually gets put to work, and we'll see. It's just been a monster season. I feel like that urgency is here in Jacksonville. I feel like a very business-like group that we go back to yesterday's conversation. They missed an opportunity. It's the best way to see it. Missed or wasted opportunity. And those are some of the worst things in life. It doesn't matter what you're doing, sports or whatever else. I always say one of the biggest things that I hate in this business is when you see people with wasted talent. Well, the Jags didn't have wasted talent. I mean, those guys are trying to get the best out of their ability. They had a wasted opportunity with the talent that they had. And I think they all realize that. They know that. Like, that's crystal clear, even inside the building, because they know what good looks like, too. You know when you have a good football team. If you go back to your team, Austen, right, we say you have a top 12 defense in the National Football League, you kind of feel like, hey, I know our record at the end of the deal wasn't good. Like, it didn't turn out to be good, but we missed an opportunity. If we had better players on the offensive side of the ball, if we had executed a little bit better on the offensive side of the ball, what we did on defense, we set ourselves up for pretty much success. And I get it, a lot of teams can say that, right? It might be good on one side or the other. But the bottom line is, as an athlete, I would think, or as a football team or as an organization, you had some recipe ingredients there for a recipe for success, and you didn't take advantage of it.
No, without a doubt. And this is where it comes. Yes, it is a team game, but you can't say that the offense isn't watching the defense isn't watching the offense. I mean, it is a team game, but then there's subsections, and you have your offense and your defense, then you have your line and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, it all goes hand in hand. When you're winning, it covers up everything, you don't notice. But when you start losing, it starts snowballing, then, yeah, you can point fingers a little bit. You can kind of look over the fence and see, well, what are you guys doing over there? Why aren't you doing your job? And it can spiral out of control. A good culture counters all of that.
Hey, we've got some more reaction. Let's get to one with Josh Allen, then we'll probably hit a break and do a little bit more. But Josh Allen was on the Rich Eisen show. Again, he was making the rounds. And let's stay on Trevor Lawrence for a bit because he was talking about the quarterback. And these two guys just got monster deals. Who's buying dinner, Austin, by the way, if Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence go out? Who's buying dinner?
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to go to the quarterback. It's got to be Trevor.
Yeah.
Although, he's going in a dad mode now as well. Yeah, it's still got to be Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, because Josh is the older guy too, right? So could maybe that factor in a little bit. He's the elder statesman. So does
Josh
he have to buy dinner?
Is the older guy as well. That's a good point, yes.
All right, let's listen to Josh on the Rich Eisen show talking about his quarterback.
I mean, first and foremost, it's the market. So it's like you have to read the market. And I know people probably say that about me. You know what I mean? Like, it's the market. That's the way the market goes. Mm-hmm. And it's only gonna go up. So, and the people who say like he's doesn't deserve it, I don't think, people really, like the fans don't really understand the market. The market is the market. You can't.
But you also see him as a teammate, what he does, right?
I love Trevor. I love Trevor. I love Trevor. He's a guy that when he got drafted, who kept it consistent, like who the first one in the building and the last one to leave as well. Mm-hmm. And when we were up, the same way. When we were down, the same way. So I know his time is going to come to where he takes that elite role, and I'm very excited for that because we all have his back. As much as I want to be the best, I want him to be the best, and I think he is going to be the best. And we need a couple alphas on the team, and he's an alpha, and he's a guy that's is going to take over.
A lot right there. I like what Josh Allen was talking about. I mean, even the last part where he's like, hey, we need alphas on the team. Like, he knows the recipe, right? You need some dogs in the room. I mean, you can have a lot of good players, but you need some guys that are going to carry the freight. And Trevor's never been afraid of that. I think Josh Allen has embraced that role too. And the other thing is about, I like other people's perspective on Trevor Lawrence sometimes, especially in that building. And on the defensive side, I think Trevor resonates throughout the building, Austin. And he has from day one. He's just got a gift as a leader. You can tell he's a very mature young man, even when he was 21 years old. And it seems like these guys have always gravitated toward him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, without a doubt. And it's one of those things where we talk about it all the time. I've said this so many times on the show. There's different types of leaders, right? But the most important leader, which I think does things the right way, and the one I'm going to follow in the battle, is the guy that day in and day out, on the field, off the field, does everything professionally and the way that it's supposed to be done. And I think Josh Allen is a prime example of that. I think Trevor Lawrence is a prime example of that as well. Sometimes you get the guys that can add the vocalness and the loud stuff as well. I think Ray Lewis would be a classic example of that. That's what really, yes, Ray Lewis, one of the best linebackers of all time, but what to me put him in a different stratosphere was the fact of he was that vocal leader. He was the face of the franchise, but obviously when he was on the field, one of the best players in football as well. So I think Jacksonville, they have two of those guys, and it's good to have one on each side of the ball. And now it's just about bringing more of those guys into that gravity almost, and rotation, if you will, and just get more guys that can, learn from that standard. And then you build more and more leaders, and obviously you have a locker room full of absolute dogs.
Yeah, one last thing on this, Austin. I know you're trained as a player to believe in your quarterback, right? If you don't, you got no chance. You got to believe in your quarterback. But there's kind of hey, we got to believe because we got to believe, and then we really believe. There's this genuine belief. And if you think about Jacksonville over the years, I think even if you go back to David Garrard, who I was a bigger fan of at the time than some of the noise of the public and as it went along. And then I think even in the locker room, I wonder if everybody was actually on board. And David's one of the better quarterbacks that have played here in Jacksonville. I think he has an underrated career. Then you go to Gabbert. How could you believe? There was nothing to believe in and buy in other than the fact that this guy's got talent and he can really wing it at practice. And then you continue to go to Bortles. The inside belief of Bortles, they tried like heck. I think they really liked him. I think they wrapped their arms around him. But then you still had the guys like Jalen Ramsey and others that did they really believe in him? Probably not. And then that continues to go. I think Foles they would have believed in. He had a Super Bowl ring, but he played for a minute. and then you got the Minshews of the world, and then the revolving door until Trevor. So really, for the first time in a long, long time, this is like genuine belief, I believe. They see the talent on the field. They see the guy who he is. They want to play with him, for him, around him, be around him. And I think it's genuine. I don't think it's manufactured at all.
No, I mean, I think it's genuine. Obviously, he came in here with, some pretty high expectations, and I think everybody knows that. And I think, the best of Trevor Lawrence, a healthy Trevor Lawrence, is still to come. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's genuine. I don't think it's like you see with the Giants a little bit sometimes. Seems like with players with Daniel Jones or what Devonta Adams has reportedly said if you watch the new Netflix show and everything. No, I think that this team generally thinks Trevor Lawrence is that guy, as they should.
All right, let's do this. We'll hear from Josh Allen on the name change, also a little bit more on the Rich Eisen shows he makes the rounds, and we'll talk more about the Jags pass rusher when we come back. A lot of Jags talk in the first hour. We'll shift gears, got a bunch of different topics to go. Hear from Best Bet St. Augustine on a Friday. Hope you're having a fantastic week. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Boy, they still haven't given away this golf cart. You have until the end of this month to kind of get in the game and play to win, and you get raffle tickets the more you play. To be able to win this golf cart, plus more prizes as well. So check it out. Get on down here to Best Bet St. Augustine. This is just at the Best Bet St. Augustine location, and get your chance to win that good-looking golf cart. That would look good riding around the parking lot at Action Sports Jacks. We all have our favorite spots in town to eat, drink, and have a good time. And once in a while, we try a new spot. This new spot will soon become your favorite spot. It's 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco. Where else can you get unicorn fish? It was really good. They have local fresh seafood. Try a terrific burger or a Jack's Hot Chicken sandwich. The ambiance is perfect for any occasion. The idea here is to have fun, have a good time. Whether you're chilling out on the couches, cozying up to the bar, having lunch or dinner, it's a throwback experience. 1937, when going out to dinner was like going to a party. They even have a photo booth. Who doesn't like a good photo booth? We recently brought the entire team out to try it, and everyone said, I'm bringing my significant other here to try it as well. The new spot becomes your favorite spot. Make 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco your new favorite spot.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set, like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
And a look at that golf cart here at Best Bet St. Augustine. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday, getting started with us. Come on down for lunch here at Ace's Bar and Grill at the Best Bet St. Augustine, right off 311. If you haven't been here before, fantastic venue, the newest venue of the Best Bet family. Of course, Orange Park and up there Monument Road in Jacksonville, and now down here in St. Augustine. Really good location, fantastic facility, bar, plenty of TVs and plenty of table games and poker, of course. Good time to be here on a Friday for lunch, for fun, for dinner, hang out, whatever you want to do. Welcome back, everybody. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Brent Austen Show here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Austin, I'm going to do a little test here. I hope I can hear you, and hopefully you can hear me as I've been jockeying around some connections here on the road today.
I can hear you, man. No problem. Yep, coming in loud and clear.
Well, there you go. That's it. Good. I can't hear Nick, but I mean, do I really have to hear Nick? He was concerned about
Nick's
that.
always got a nugget, man. We should start having a segment called Nick's Nuggets, where we just learn something new about Nick every single day. Once again, the human enigma. That is Nick in the daytime.
What nuggets are we talking? We talking Wendy's, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A? What are we talking
Oh,
here?
dude, gotta go with those. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Gotta be McDonald's.
Whoever's cutting the price. We had some.
You got a point. You got a point.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Who's ever cutting the check? By the way, did I have to drive out of my way to get the Jujutsu Kaisen special sauce last night from McDonald's? Yeah, I did. And was it delicious? Yeah, it was. Just going to tell you that right now.
What did it taste like? I'm curious now.
Me and my son are on the same page here. It starts off with like notes of kind of like a teriyaki.
Ooh, okay.
But then the aftertaste, it's kind of like a Jolly Rancher / gravy. It's weird, man.
But
it's good. I wasn't mad at it.
That's odd.
I wasn't mad at it. Give it a try.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I only go to Whataburger around here, by the way. Speaking of, and I can hear Nick, which is fantastic. Everybody sounds so much better. I had to do this for peace of mind. It was sounding fine to everybody else, but it did not sound fine to me, so I had to switch things up. But you know what I had last night? And I have never had them. Didn't even know they existed. So Kaylee and I went to dinner. Mom and Ty were at orientation down at Flagler, so had a little dinner date Kaylee Brooke, which is always nice, by the way. And so I was like, well, where do you want to go? She's like, so there's a Bonchon nearby down near home, and we've had it before to go, but we've never really gone in to eat. So usually when Ty or somebody would get it to go, it's like wings and fried rice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I didn't even know they had anything else on the menu, quite frankly. And so I had these bao buns. Have you heard of that? B-A-O?
Brent.
I knew you were going to. I was thinking of you. I'm like, hey, this is a cultural thing. I've never had them.
Yeah. Hey, I've heard of bao buns like I've heard of water. Yeah, it's pretty good. They're pretty ballin'.
So is that
welcome to the club?
Is that a common thing?
I mean, yeah. It's not like as common as an egg roll or a crab rangoon, but they're pretty known. Like Nick in the daytime. Let's go to the kids' corner.
No way, Nick's gonna know. Nick does not know what a bao bun is.
Nick,
no, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Nick,
There's
I
no
want
chance.
complete honesty.
There's no chance.
Nick, I want complete honesty here.
He's right. He's right.
You've even heard of a bao bun?
I may have heard about them. I'm not 100% sure exactly, what they might have been.
Yeah.
So this is kind of new to me.
Yeah. So they make like duck breast bao buns, and mouth is watering now. I'm just absolutely watering as I have my urn full of smoothie. I'm just about to guzzle down. But yes, Brent, bao buns have been a thing for a while now. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, I heard there are some like places that just serve. So here's the deal. I'm looking at these things right on the menu, and I'm like, well, this looks kind of goofy, but sounds good, right? In a way, I seriously have never seen them. Never didn't know what they were. And so yeah, I got like with pork belly in it.
Did you take a picture? Is this you or is this Nick in the daytime?
It's me.
Okay, good.
No, this is Nick.
I thought Brent took a picture of his meal last night because he's so impressed. I'm like, yeah, I know what they look like. But yeah, those look like duck breasts too. Those look like duck breast bao buns right there.
It's like 8-bit pixel. It's the first
I didn't have duck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't have duck as an option there, but the bottom line is, I'm like, I really don't know what this is, but I'm going to try it. I was intrigued, and so they bring it over, and they kind of look good, nice and fluffy right there, right? As you can tell, they're steamed, and I love it. So I absolutely love it, and so now I start asking the guy when he comes over. I'm like, man, I got to put more stuff in these. Like, this would be awesome with just about anything in it. And then he's like, yeah, they do that, dummy.
Yeah.
They have, like, places for them. Like, you can just go to, like, whatever bao place and get a turkey sandwich and a bao. Like, I don't know. But you know what I told the guy? He kind of laughed at me. I was like, you know what these are? These are, like, Uncrustables without the peanut butter and jelly. That's what they taste like. I've got a new favorite. This is in the Uncrustable family. That's probably better for you.
Kind of an insult to that guy, though, calling them Uncrustables. I feel like not the best thing to say to somebody who just made them or like his restaurant it is, but no, I see where you're coming from. It's kind of got like the same shape.
This wasn't a family-owned This is Bonchon. I'm not sure it's.
I don't know, man. I mean, you still take pride in what you do.
I don't think he's taking it personal.
I don't know what's more crazy though: the fact you didn't know who Daniel Day-Lewis was. You didn't know the fact that bao buns existed.
Wait, you didn't know who Daniel Day-Lewis was?
No, that was years ago. Now I do.
Get him, Nick. Get him, Nick.
I mean, I haven't watched a lot of what he's in, but I still know who the guy is because he's one of the greatest.
Thank you. Probably the greatest of all time. Yeah,
he's definitely up there.
He's still don't know who he is. Still never seen a movie with him. I don't think.
You watched There Will Be Blood and you loved it. We've been over this.
I did. Yeah, I actually did.
And it was a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, I could have steered you wrong.
Much like the bao buns. Why didn't you turn me on to the bao buns? Been around this thing for like 6 years. I mean, what the heck? Come on.
What do you mean? Let's like. I didn't know you didn't know what they were. It's like, hey, you ever had a hot dog before? Like, yeah, they exist. This is planet Earth.
It's not like a hot dog.
Bao buns you go to any like Chinese restaurant or Japanese like they're gonna have bao buns, man.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay, maybe it's more of a Korean thing. Yeah, but they're around. Like I'll be honest. The first time I ever had them was probably like 8 or 9 years ago in Jacksonville at 5 Points. There's a restaurant that had them, and it changed my mind because like. It's like a soft bun, and then like with that meat, it's delicious. Like, okay, Yep, nailed it. Nick, you called it. You ever had a torta, Brent?
I don't know.
Taking way too long. Definitely haven't had a torta. It's simple as that. No, so a torta.
Let me Google torta.
Oh, this is truly turning into the culture hour. So a torta you'd get like at a Mexican restaurant, but it's like it's soft bread with the meat in between it. But like it's almost like if you want to call it the Korean version or like the Asian influence of a torta.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
And by the way,
I just read about it. So yeah,
try tortas too, Brent, because they're delicious.
All right, I'll get. I am always looking for something different at the Mexican restaurants. Chips and salsa, tacos, fajitas. Right, you kind of go tos.
Dude's really in the comfort zone.
Yeah, I really do get in the comfort zone. And part of this is because I'm just not cultured enough like you, Austin. I'm like, I don't know what this is, and I'm not going to ask. Like, I can't picture what this is going to look like or be like. And I like everything, so I probably would like it. Yeah. So torta, I'll put it on my list.
Try torta. That's like
buns.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They're high on my list.
Yeah. I think you're going to like a torta then as well.
Can I make a bao bun at home?
What are you doing to me, Nick, in the daytime? It's not even lunchtime yet, man. You're putting the avocados on there. The guacamole. Mm-hmm.
That looks good. That looks good. You got a little spice there with the jalapenos.
So yeah, there's a like a food truck by us, and I always do the cow tongue torta, and it is chef's kiss.
Cow tongue.
Oh yeah, lingua as they call that. Yep,
it's a lingua. All right. Now, might have to hang out with you more often.
Come on, man, I got you. And like, I love how you call me cultured. I'm like the biggest caveman here in Jacksonville. I'm a Neanderthal, man, but I do like interesting foods.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about it. Like my buddy or even like my family, I think it's a little bit like this. Steph's a little bit like this. She doesn't love trying new stuff. Mm-hmm. I do. Like I don't mind eating just about anything, and I'll try it. So, and I usually like it. I'm not really a big critic of food, so it's not that. It's not that. Like my buddy just eats like chicken and pizza. Like that's not me. I'll eat anything else, but I had never heard of that, and man, were they good! And now I'm going to go searching. So you tell me where the best bao buns are in town, and I'll be finding them.
Brent, and I have one more goal for us in the show. If we go to Vegas for the game, I'm going to take you to this all-you-can-eat sushi spot. It's only like $30. All you can eat sushi. It must be a front for something else because they're losing money because it's like high quality sushi. But they have a once time when you go there, you can order it one time as sea urchin. And then I did it last time I was in Vegas, and we're gonna let you try sea urchin and see your reaction to that because I had a reaction myself. Not gonna say what it is. Gonna hold off with a surprise, but I'm very curious to see you try sea urchin.
Okay, we'll check that out and see if it's. I've tried some things. I mean, at 1937 Spirits and Eatery, where we were and go sometimes, it's the unicorn fish. I had never had that, and I'm a fish guy too, and I'd never had that. That was really good. So yeah, I'll try some of these things. I will say this, like sushi. This kind of comes. I'm not like I'm more of a newcomer to the sushi game.
Okay,
so there'll be a lot of things on sushi that I don't understand. Like I'm like reading them. There's so many options to sushi. And by the way, Best Bet, love the sushi here at Best Bet.
Say no more. I've had it there too.
I will. Yeah, but I mean, I know the California roll, right? And I know other things, and I don't mind the mixture of other things. I just don't know exactly what it's going to be. So I fall back to, okay, I've had this one before. I'm going to try this one.
So I'm not going to lie, and, once again, statute of limitations comes clean here. So when I was at Best Bet for a poker tournament, they had like a nice little spread on the table, kind of like hors d'oeuvres or whatever they call them, just kind of like finger foods, right? Well, they had like a sushi, like a little thing of sushi there. So like, everyone's like grabbing one. So I took one, first time trying it, delicious. I'm like, yeah. And took the whole plate off the table, kind of like brought it over to my table so no one could see it. And I was eating them like popcorn chicken. I'm not exaggerating, probably had about 15 of those like rolls of sushi. They were delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good. Fries and sushi is my go-to here at bestbet, St. Augustine, and all the bestbet locations. But you're not wrong. Like I get exactly what you're saying. There's not a better phrase maybe in the food department than hors d'oeuvres. Because I love that picking food, man. Because here's the thing, you never get full on that stuff. Like, if you go to, they have hors d'oeuvres somewhere, like, you could just eat it for days. Sushi kind of feels a little bit like that to me, too. And some of the seafood stuff that I grew up with in New England, same way. It's like, okay, I'm not full. Let's just keep eating. But hors d'oeuvres, man, you feel like you could eat them all day. And I don't know if I've ever had a bad hors d'oeuvre. They all seem to taste good.
No, I haven't either. And yeah, I guess that's kind of the beauty of it, right, Brent? Is like when we talk about hors d'oeuvres or however you say it, like if you have for instance, like a hot dog, like you eat like maybe 2 hot dogs 4th of July, like guts a little, but I can eat like 35 cocktail weenies, and it's like, they're tiny, it's all good. But like when you add them all up, I probably ate about 10 hot dogs, but it's all good, man. They're little cocktail weenies on little toothpicks. It's all good. I can go through those all day.
That is so true, man. I actually do. You know what else I do that with is like Donato's pizza. They slice. It's not like in the big slices, so it's in like the small little slices. Squares. And it's the one we get is like the thin crust, right? So it's I mean, you're literally eating a bite or two every time you eat, and I think I probably consume 3 times as much pizza as I normally would.
Yeah. No, exactly.
It's funny what a mentality we have here. All right, hey, let's get back to some football talk. You think we could eat a lot? And how much could Josh Hines-Allen eat? Probably a bunch. All right, so the name change this week was the story, and that came up on the Rich Eisen Show. And listen to Josh talk a little bit more and give some insight about why the change and why now.
I mean, it was a lot went into it. For years, my whole family is not my whole family, but my sisters are Hines-Allens. Mm-hmm. And my brother and I were just Allen. So but I was always known as Little Hines.
That's how you were known?
When I was growing up, my whole family grew up in Montclair, New Jersey. Yeah. Through high school, middle school, elementary. So we were well known in the city. And so me coming up, when it was my turn, I was at the park outside, Little Hines, my uncle was well known. So I was always known as that. But we didn't have the complete last name. Mm-hmm. And so like just growing up and going through the motion, not really thinking anything of it, knowing that I'm always been a Hines, has always been there. And then I got to a point, when I got to the NFL, it was like, okay, I wanted to do it. First of all, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know if I had time to do it. Right. And I didn't know if I had the patience to wait to do it. And so for me, it was like, wait, whatever. And then my wife really encouraged me. My wife really encouraged me to do it. And then we hired a great marketing team, and they helped us really lay the foundation down.
Some more of the story behind Josh Hines-Allen, and obviously that name was sounds like familiar to him than maybe even the Josh Allen we know growing up. And then it just became kind of hey, when do we want to get this thing done? I believe, too, I think his marketing team now, Austin, is the same as Calais. And so probably some influence somewhere in there. I'm sure these guys talk to each other, and maybe they helped facilitate this. I don't know if that was the branch. These teams are really big. They have your contract team, you have your marketing team, you have this team. So I'm assuming, though, that is the organization and team that helped him do this. So pretty cool background about why he did this, and it sounds like he almost wanted to do it from day one as an NFL player. This wasn't just like a legacy play and building generational wealth with this contract.
No, without a doubt, man. I mean, listen, it's anytime you put your family first, I commend you. It's admirable. And I think like it does kind of take a little bit of rebranding now. I think he's kind of doing that tour. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, and once again, Josh Allen in Buffalo now is breathing a sigh of relief because they're not getting mixed up all the time. So that's good for everybody. Quick question, Brent. When we talk about career and legacy, and I get like one's a quarterback and one's a defensive end, but who do you think when it's all said and done is going to have, I guess, be known as the better Josh Allen, if you will?
Oh, good question. I think the easy way to answer this would be Josh Allen, Buffalo quarterback.
Sure.
Go
ahead. Sorry.
He's off to a really good start, and two, he's a quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I go with it. But Josh is off to a really good start too, and now in that respect, I think by the time we're 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, I think we now have Hines-Allen in our minds so much that we almost forget that it was Josh Allen and Josh Allen. You most have to be reminded of it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if the comparison will be there. I think both these guys have a chance. Listen, they both have an opportunity the way they've positioned themselves early in their career. And I know this sounds blasphemous sometimes to predict, but at such a young age, they could be on track for Hall of Fame careers. Now, they still have to go and do a lot of things to get there. But I think both players have a chance to be Hall of Fame careers. But again, the legacy play will be the quarterback, the bigger deal, and especially if he leads them to a Super Bowl. Now, Josh Allen goes and wins like Defensive Player of the Year and becomes T.J. Watt-like, or an Aaron Donald-like impact on the game, which he still has time. He's just going into his prime, and who knows, maybe he can do that. Maybe I would start to answer that question a little bit differently, but I think just the nature of the position says Josh Allen Buffalo will be still the first one when you Google, you know what I mean?
No, exactly. I mean, it comes with the quarterback position. I get all that, but I wonder, like, when it's all said and done, like, who's going to have the more impressive career, like whose numbers are going to dictate, like, yeah, he truly was. I mean, I get, once again, with the quarterback, passing yards and touchdowns and everything, and you're in the spotlight a little more. But if Josh Allen, Josh Hines-Allen now can, replicate a couple of those years that he had last season, I mean, he truly may be the better Josh Allen when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and I guess the only way to illustrate this is there's two different ways. One, probably by Super Bowls. Let's just assume they both put up statistics, right? And we're having this conversation some 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road, maybe even further down the road than that. And they both put up good numbers, but the Super Bowl and then the Hall of Fame, like, is the Hall of Fame the difference maker at some point? I mean, I could see a situation where Josh Hines-Allen here in Jacksonville makes the Hall of Fame and Josh Allen up in Buffalo does not. Mm-hmm. I feel like almost every quarterback now is going to put up numbers that are Hall of Fame worthy. It feels like if you're like almost elite or elite, but there is a situation where that could happen, where our number 41 ends up in the Hall of Fame and Josh up in Buffalo does not. And I guess that would certainly at the end of the day be like, well, who had the better career? Who's the better legacy? You would definitely go to Josh Hines-Allen. So, yeah, it's a good question. It's interesting. I do love the fact. I love when these guys get off to good starts, and I would even say this about young players around the league, not just here in Jacksonville, but it's specifically notable in Jacksonville because we haven't had a lot of this discussion. When you can actually say, hey, like I said, Jalen Ramsey's a Hall of Fame player almost the minute he walked on the field. And I'm not going to be wrong. He is. He's a Hall of Fame player. And now Josh Hines-Allen, what he's done with last year, you could buy into some of that in the first few years, but you didn't know. You'd have to convince people. Heck, we had to convince people to even sign him if you go back a year. Yeah. So now after 17 and a half sacks, now second all time, he's going to hold the record here in Jacksonville. He has this monster season. Like you say, if he goes and has another one, if he wins a defensive player, like these are things that start adding up and you're like, this is definitely a path to get to the Hall of Fame, which is a pretty cool thing to say about a young player because that's a hard thing to determine early in your career. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And obviously, knock on wood, injuries are a thing and longevity goes into it as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that has to go right to be that guy. But I think both of these gentlemen, either Josh Hines-Allen or Josh Allen, are at least well on their way. Now, they have to maintain, still be consistent, but they're showing they're on their way.
You got me interested in a topic. Let's take a time out. When we come back. Is it just Josh and Trevor that you would pencil as Hall of Fame caliber players at this point that could get there? Again, this is a total hypothetical situation, right? But if you were to predict it, would you place a little wager on something like that?
Ooh, Brent, I like
or am I
this
missing
question.
Somebody else in there?
I like this
so
question.
Let's
and
go
then
there
maybe
when we come back.
Yeah, well, let's come back to this question, and then maybe next week some other station in town can steal it and use it for themselves. Great.
Plenty of opportunity for that. Thanks for listening and watching. whoever you are. We're live at Best Bet St. Augustine. We'll put a Canton wager on the Jaguars players when we come back here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
People helping people is at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning. And mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austen Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jacks app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jacks Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. a friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville Orange Park and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Well, here's a look at our lineup. It started with Miller and Moulton this morning. It will end with Young and Norvell today at 4 o'clock. Good to have those guys on the network as they debuted this week. And so there were 3 shows. We've got our sports talk shows, but there's more to the lineup, and we want to continue to express that to everybody. 1 o'clock today, if you haven't caught it yet, we'll have Cup Date with Stuart Weber. 1:30, a week with Action Sports Jacks with Olivia Tassley. 2 o'clock, we play After the Game, which is our coaches show. Josh Baker, along with Kevin Sullivan, who, by the way, says he's going to stop by here in a little bit. And Christopher Foy from Oakleaf was our guest this week. So there you go, 2 o'clock Tuesdays and Fridays. We also have created a YouTube playlist on our YouTube channel, Action Sports Jacks, for all the episodes. We have 5 episodes already there. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. If you like high school ball or you like stories, I can't stop raving about the show. I'm really excited about it, and I have nothing really to do with it. But it's been very enjoyable listening to some of the conversations, especially if you like high school ball in the area. And it's not just going to be football coaches. We're going to get some other coaches involved. So more to the lineup than just our shows, but obviously anchored by our lineup 6 to 6 now. We've got some really good programming, 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Miller and Moulton, Brent and Austen Show, Young and Norvell as well. And a reminder, as we welcome you back to Best Bet St. Augustine, Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, we will have the Jacksonville Armadas match as they play for a championship, a conference championship tomorrow. The way things worked out, they get another home match. They thought they would probably be on the road, maybe in Pensacola. They'll host Columbus instead, and that's been really fun here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network to host the Armada games and matches all summer, and we'll continue to do so as they continue to win. So good luck to the Armada coming up tomorrow here in Jacksonville. That one will be played at Edward Waters University. And also a shout out to EWU, as they now officially are a Division II NCAA program, as that was approved yesterday. So a big historic day for them after a 3-year transition period. And now notable that when they win a championship, they'll be playing in the NCAA tournament. They couldn't do that last year or the last couple of years. Now they'll be able to do it. So we've got 2 Division II schools in the area with Edward Waters University and Flagler right down here in St. Augustine. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. Couple of comments. YB400's with us today, hanging out. He must still be stuck at work or not at the beach or something else here on this summer Friday in July. And we appreciate that. Thanks for hanging with us. 17.5 sacks from Hines-Allen with no pressure up the middle with 10 from Trayvon. I'm expecting big season again from edge rushers as long as Campbell and Darby I don't know what that part said at the end. Have clamps, so meaning they can shut it down in the back end and the secondary, talking about Tyson Campbell, Ronald Darby, or whoever plays, like Jerry and Jones and others. So, I think you could make the case that these guys are going to have another big year. I think what we have to be a little bit careful about is 17.5 sacks was a monster season for Josh Allen. I mean, that is just an unusually productive season for any good player, even the Myles Garretts of the world, TJ Watts of the world. It's been done, but to do it again is very, very difficult. I think a lot of eyes on Trayvon Walker to see, okay, if he went from 3.5 sacks to 10 sacks, and some I think people have met 11 sacks from last year. If you do that, can you get to 13, 14? Do you keep growing? And if he gets to 14, does that mean Josh comes back down to 14 or 15? Whatever it is, I think that it's more of a total number. Total number for the team defense, and Austin, probably a total number for that tandem, because it would be pretty cool if they get 27, 28 sacks as a tandem once again, and now you can say in Jacksonville, we have the best tandem in the National Football League. I think that would be a pretty loud statement to make on those pass rushers.
No, it would definitely be an extremely loud statement to make, but and with all due respect to Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, I would rather have the best defensive line as a unit more than the best tandem. So if that means that the numbers have to come down a little bit in terms of the quarterback sack production from Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, I'm willing to part with that. If that means the guys like Eric Armstead, Roy Robertson Harris, Mason Smith and company can get more sacks up the middle.
All right, so before the break, we threw this question out there. And I'll probably phrase it this way. Is Josh Hines-Allen the player on the Jacksonville Jaguars that is tracking toward a Hall of Fame career? I'm not really asking you to predict if he will be in the Hall of Fame, but is he the only guy, or could you pencil some others at least on a track that would realistically put them in the conversation some 12, 15 years down the road?
You know, I mean, obviously we want to say Trevor, but I still think he has a lot of ground to make up from his first couple of years. Not saying that he can't do it, but if you're asking me who the clear front runner is right now, you have to go with Josh Hines-Allen. You know, like I was thinking, like, okay, well, could like ETN eventually get there? But like, I feel like the running back now at the Hall of Fame level, like it's not appreciated like it was, you know, in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, if we're still talking about Fred Taylor trying to get in the Hall of Fame, what does Travis Etienne have to do in his, you know, career to even come close to that conversation? I mean, like, I was looking at this during the break, Brent, like, how many running backs do you conceive right now in the NFL that are current? And I get, like, you don't have the numbers in front of you or like the names, and I really don't have all the names either, but like, how many running backs right now in the NFL could you see going to the Hall of Fame one day? Like, obviously Derrick Henry should be there. I think Christian McCaffrey should be there.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like, I don't think, is Zeke there? Like,
No.
Yeah. Alvin
No,
Kamara? Like, I don't.
Zeke's there. Yeah. That's a good question, man. I think, you wonder if a guy, if Saquon could stay healthy, could he get there? But again, for right now, to what they've already done, I'm sure we're missing somebody in here, but I think you hit the top two. I think you hit Derek and Christian, and outside of that, I don't know of anybody that's even close. I mean, Kamara had some great years, but he's really fallen off, like in and out of the lineup, some off the field stuff too, which could hamper him, I think, in many respects, if he doesn't just have all the numbers to be there. Yeah, I don't know. And I said this yesterday too, Austin. I kind of feel like the running back is lasting longer than ever before in the NFL. Take Joe Mixon. We were talking about him, right? Who's getting up there in age. He's had a very nice career, but he doesn't jump out at me as like he's had a Hall of Fame potential career, even if he does it for another couple years, 3 years in Houston. So, yeah, it's a great question. I think the running back, which, by the way, should probably pave the way for Fred even more, right? I mean, we don't have a lot of running backs that are going to make it. Get the ones that should be in there and Fred is certainly high, if not the top of that list. He should be the top of that list. But yeah, great question. I don't know. And to your context, that really puts someone like Travis Etienne is very doubtful to be able to track toward that place.
And you know what's crazy too about Joe Mixon? Like, I still think of Saquon Barkley as like a younger running back for some reason. Maybe just because we haven't seen, a lot of full seasons from Saquon, so he still seems kind of young. But Joe Mixon is only a year older than Saquon Barkley is. But for some reason, I feel like Joe Mixon has so much more tread on his tires than Saquon Barkley. Or, I mean, has less tread on his tires than Saquon Barkley. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. That's an odd one. That's a good call. I'm not sure. I was starting even to look up this. Like, Evan Ingram has played 2, 4, 6, 7 years in the NFL. He has 449 catches. Let's see, NFL all-time tight end reception list. Is that good?
Yeah.
Most receptions by a tight end all time. I guess I could have just done that. Tony Gonzalez is number one at 1325. Witten 1228. I think those guys are Hall of Famers. Antonio Gates 9. I mean, I know those guys are Hall of Famers. Witten's in the Hall. Is Witten a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's got to be. Yeah. I mean, I'll look it up quick, but I'm pretty
sure. Has he already
been,
or is he not done yet? I can't remember. And then you got Gates. Kelsey, by the way, is already fourth all-time, which he'll just keep climbing this year. He'll probably get into third all-time past Antonio Gates this year. And then you got Shannon Sharp, Greg Olson. These guys are already out of the game. Of course, Jimmy Graham, Zach Ertz, Ozzie Newsome, Rob Gronkowski. And Gronkowski, by the way, had 92 touchdowns. That is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
He had 621 catches and 92 touchdowns. Heath Miller, Vernon Davis, Jared Cook, Benjamin Watson. Come on, let me get I bet I'm getting pretty close to, what did I just say? 449 catches. Okay. To get top 25, Owen Daniels is number 25 at 479. And Ingram has 449.
Okay.
So let's just assume that that Ingram has 2 more good years in Jacksonville. Oh, it's 75 catches apiece. He gets 150 more catches. That would put him around 600 catches in his career. Let's just go there. If he has 600 catches in his career, that would be 11th all-time, right behind Gronkowski. Now, the big difference in a lot of these guys that make the Hall of Fame at tight end position is touchdowns. And a guy like Ingram, and again, I'm talking if he has some exceptional seasons that really elevate his career, and you're going to the Pro Bowls, and now you got like 4 Pro Bowls in your career, and maybe an all-pro type season. I mean, that's what you'll need if you're Ingram to even be considered as a very outside chance at this. But I don't know if he'll have enough touchdowns. 111 for Gonzalez, 74 for Witten, 116 for Gates. Kelsey has 74 touchdowns in his career right now. Shannon Sharp had 61 touchdowns and 800 catches. And right now, I think only 24 career touchdowns for Evan Ingram. So he would really have to turn up the heat on the touchdowns. I would say probably has no chance at the Hall of Fame at this stage, so he can't be on this list. I was just trying to think outside the box of somebody that might track. I'm thinking of Brandon Sheriff. Has he had a Hall of Fame career? I don't think so. Probably because he didn't keep up what he did in Washington here in Jacksonville. Eric Armstead, now different animal here. We haven't even seen him in a Jags uniform, so I'm going to kind of leave him out of that.
Well, and as well, because I looked up Eric Armstead, too, just to kind of see the numbers and see if you could consider him one day for the Hall of Fame, And, it's not the end-all, be-all stat, but quarterback sacks are definitely a big thing when we talk about defensive linemen, and he's only had 33.5 sacks in his entire career.
Yeah, heck, we don't even know if Calais is going to get in with 100,
Calais, he should be getting
well, there's a lot of people that say, no, of course we think so and all that, but so 33 is definitely not enough. I don't think there's anybody else. How about this? There's no way like a Foye Oluokun if he continues to do this, could he get in at the linebacker spot?
Because, he's had a couple of Pro Bowl nods or not?
I think it was just his first one. But, let's just say he were to go to lead the league in tackles for 2 more years. Does that make it – he's going to lead the league 5 years in tackles? Doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't. Because Puz has done that as well, if I'm not mistaken. And, you're never talking about Puz making the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to be good enough for Foye.
Well, the guy that did it the most, if I'm not mistaken, is Jesse Tuggle. I think he led and he's 5-time Pro Bowler, 2nd-team All-Pro, 4-time NFL combined tackles leader, Ring of Honor, and at the Atlanta Falcons, but he ain't a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. That's not good. Again, I'm just kind of talking out loud about some of these guys, but I would say right now, you're looking at Josh Hines-Allen. And you always put if you have a franchise quarterback, you just sign to a $275 million deal. It would be nice to be able to say, hey, yeah, I could see that someday, again, he's 24 years old, got a lot of football ahead. So statistically and hopefully accolades-wise, you said something very interesting. He's going to have to flip that early part of his career. So, he's kind of digging uphill a little bit at the early stages to do that. But if he does what people think he can do, and I'm not even talking about what people think his ceiling is and this generational stuff. I'm just saying be a franchise quarterback amongst the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. He's got the ingredients for all that. If he does that now, Austin, for the next 3 years, let's just say, we would definitely put him on this path and the numbers would show and the winning has to come. That will be a very important part of it for especially the quarterback spot, probably more important than Josh Hines-Allen even winning Super Bowls, although it would help.
No, without a doubt. First, the winning has to come, but also I feel like when you're talking about Hall of Fame quarterbacks really at any position, Brent, in your time period, you have to be like a top 3 guy. Not maybe in the NFL, it's so different because there's such, there are so many high profile and skilled quarterbacks, but still, I think if you want to have that conversation of a Hall of Fame one day, you got to be in the top 3. And we know right now Trevor Lawrence is not in the top 3 quite yet.
No, certainly not. Interesting. It's the more guys you can ask this about and have the conversations about certainly means your football team's pretty good. And what you hope happens here sooner or later is that we say this about a Trayvon Walker by next year. or 2 years down the road. Or we say this at some point 3 years, 4 years down the road about a Brian Thomas Jr. That's where I think it's one thing to acquire these players. We ask about Calais Campbell. He feels like such a big part of now the Jags history, even in a 3-year span, and where he'll be. And I think we'll all have like an emotional attachment to that if it were to happen down the road. But I think you really want to homegrown these guys, right? Homegrow these guys and be the ones you drafted. And you draft Hall of Famers. GMs certainly want that attached to their legacy, but that means you're probably winning football games. You've built a really good program if you've got players that you drafted that eventually someday, even if they played for another team down the road at the end of their career, that end up primarily as Jags players going to Canton, Ohio. That'd be pretty cool, because just think about it in this context. We talk about 3 guys in Jacksonville primarily. We talk Tony Baselli, who now is in. We talk Fred Taylor, and we talk Jimmy Smith. Well, how good were the Jags during that time when those guys were playing? It equates to success. Mm-hmm. And that's really what you'd love to have here with this next crop of talent here in Jacksonville. Let's take a break from Best Bet St. Augustine. We'll come back, talk a little bit more football, some other things on the docket as well, including, was it a snub for the Olympic basketball team for one player, or were they doing just what's good for the team? It's been an interesting dialogue on that discussion. We'll take a break and be back from Best Bet St. Augustine here on a Friday on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup, because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Oh man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out gwoutdoorliving.com for your free estimate.
New to town or always been in town, everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're gonna love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations, Donato's Pizza. Every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to the Brent and Austen Show. Best Bet St. Augustine, the place to be for us here on this Friday. Good to be back. I haven't been here in a while. We'll be here next Thursday as well, and then the following Friday too. So a few times here in the month of July after a little hiatus in June. So come on down if you haven't been. Again, you go to all the locations, Monument Road in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and this is the newest location, and really fun to be at. A lot of action going into the weekend, a lot of fun stuff. They've always got something different happening. In fact, we'll have Jesse on, talk about some of the fun stuff they've got going. Also raffling a big, luxurious golf cart. That will end at the end of this month. It's been going on for a couple of months. So get in the game while you can and get a chance to win big. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane. Hey, one thing that's been floating around the sports world we haven't really hit on these last couple of days, the Jaylen Brown stuff, Team USA. Kawhi Leonard, even that Kawhi Leonard stuff was pretty interesting, man, because Grant Hill basically indicated that, it was more our choice than his choice. It came across initially like it was his choice, so there's some interesting behind-the-scenes stuff there. And then it was Derek White, Boston Celtics player, that gets added to the roster instead of Jaylen Brown, and he's been pretty vocal back and forth about wanting to be on the team, but now getting snubbed. So a little bit of a soap opera around some of the Celtics and Team USA.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know where all the Jaylen Brown disrespect, I guess you would call it, comes from. Like, you talk about a finals MVP, you talk about a guy who really, in terms of having that dog in him, was a big reason why the Celtics were so good. And nothing against Jason Tatum, but me and Casey did this exercise a couple weeks ago where if you're building a team, I mean, I think you can make an argument and say you would take Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum just from the mindset and demeanor alone. You have a guy in Kawhi Leonard who exits the team. They go after Derek White. I'm not sure. Did we end up getting the tweets, Nick, in the daytime in terms of what Jaylen Brown put out? Because now he's almost trying to urge on a conspiracy of why he's not actually on Team USA.
Well, not only that, there's some now you got to start thinking long term of how the Celtics and Brown kind of get along, right? Because the trio of Celtics that are on this team and not him, with Drew Holiday and also Tatum, of course, and now Derek White. So, kind of fascinating underbelly of what's going on here.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that. Obviously Jaylen Brown wants to be on the team. And when Derek White was selected over him, he kind of put out the, the thinking emoji a little bit. So, it definitely affected him. But I also don't think as a teammate who has just, you won a championship with, you're really hating on Derek White for getting the nod. Like, yeah, Jaylen Brown's upset, but I'm still sure he's going to celebrate his teammate because we've never had any indications that Jaylen Brown isn't a good teammate. When you have Jason Tatum making an NBA team and Jaylen Brown doesn't, it wasn't cutting down Jason Tatum saying, well, that should have been me. It was more of just being like, hey, why wasn't I invited as well? And kind of using that in the NBA playoffs a little bit. Where the conspiracy comes into play is Jaylen Brown not being a Nike guy, and Nike obviously sponsoring Team USA. And there's some thoughts, at least from Jaylen Brown, which is tweeting out now, saying that the reason why he didn't get invited to go to Team USA is because he rolls with Adidas over Nike.
Well, there you go, right? Some of the politics and business side of things may be getting in the way, and I could see that making some sense. I don't find any sense really in the fact that Jaylen Brown's on the team not on the team from a basketball standpoint. Like that, Team USA should win. It's probably going to win. They could probably put me on the team and be okay. But Jaylen Brown's like the best. Like, why wouldn't you want him? Finals MVP. He's coming off that momentum. He wants to be there. I also don't mind him pouting about it either. Like, I'm not a big fan of athletes pouting, but in this respect, I'm not really sure. If I mind it, I like the fact that he wants to be on the team. I like the fact that he feels like he should be on the team. I think he's earned the right to be on the team in many respects, or at least amongst the elite. When you watch the elite go play in a collection of players, and you just won the Finals MVP, and arguably people have been saying for the last few months anyway, you might be better than the best guy on your team in Jason Tatum, who just got a mega contract.
Yeah.
How many times can you be disrespected if you're Jaylen Brown? The Nike stuff to me does make a little bit of sense, though, right? It's a big game politically, probably in the business side. And who knows what went on to try to get Jaylen Brown over the years between Adidas and Nike, or negotiations or whatever behind the scenes that might have made this a little bit more salty, even if it was some 3-4 years ago, that now comes out in this selection, Austin.
Yeah, Grant Hill right now, his job as, I think, whatever you call him, the executive or president of Team USA basketball, is trying to put out fires, like saying, well, I wore Fila and I was still on the team, and by the way, Fila, remember that? Remember Fila? Remember Grant Hill rocking Filas, and it was a little cool. I had a Fila t-shirt, I remember, because of Grant Hill. Man, how the times have changed. It's almost like Skechers now. You're not going to see any NBA player wearing Skechers anytime soon. Maybe Larry Bird with Joe Montana in like an over the hill kind of commercial, but you don't see any current NBA player rocking Skechers. I think the closest you can get is like New Balance with Kawhi Leonard now. So I don't know. Is it a fact of maybe the deal with Nike didn't go down well with Jaylen Brown and they feel a certain type of way about it? Honestly, Brent, I wish that is the reason, because that's the only thing that can really justify why you leave a guy off the team. Once again, Finals MVP. He was, I don't know, the Eastern Finals MVP as well. Like, the dude did his thing, won a championship, and I'm not going to call Derek White a lower tier, because Derek White can, bring some things with defense and everything that, some players can't. So I'm not going to say Derek White isn't deserving of this recognition as well, but to leave Jaylen Brown off of it just seems a little asinine to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, I think he's got a pretty fair beef here. I think some players don't, but I love the fact that he wants to play. He wants to play for the it's the time to do it. He peaked at the right time to be able to be on this basketball team, and is not. So, are you going to watch this stuff? I don't get too wrapped up in Team USA at the Olympics, because it feels like they're just going to throttle everybody. It has a little bit of a feel of like the NBA All-Star game for me, where it could be 25, 30 points every time, and that's not very entertaining. Do you find entertainment value in this collection of players, though, all playing together, wearing red, white, and blue?
No, without a doubt. I'm definitely going to tune in and watch it. Once again, I've said this before. I watch, every Olympic sport just because it's cool. It's once every 4 years. But at the same time, I do watch this a little more just because there's so many great players. Like, yes, Team USA has the most studs, as it should. But like Canada, who they just played and did all right against. They have some great players. They have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett, Dylan Brooks. Like, there's some deep talent. We talk about maybe the most stars of any professional sport being the NBA, well, guess what? They're also from different countries as well. So I'm definitely going to tune in, and I'm going to watch the pressure of the U.S. national team because the pressure is on them to win. Like, I get it. You have great players all around the world, but you're Team USA. There's an expectation where if you don't get gold, it's considered a failure.
Let's bounce around with a couple other topics here. You brought this up, and I feel like this is an ongoing story. I'm not sure how deep it really goes. We haven't come up with an answer, but Georgia had more arrests, football we're talking about, with players when it comes to operating a vehicle. I mean, it's one of the most insane trends of the last couple of few years that I'm not sure how you figure it out. I mean, are they just signing guys that are careless drivers, bad decision makers? How does this continue to go on, Austin? I don't even know what you do about it. What do you do about it if you're Georgia, if you're Kirby Smart, if you're the athletic director? I mean, what an odd trend to take place with the amount of citations, arrests, other things that have happened with Georgia's football program when it comes to operating a vehicle. I've never seen anything like it.
No, I really haven't either. You know, we just talked about a couple days ago in terms of Oklahoma State, what they're going through right now in terms of a DUI and how that's being perceived. This is serial now. Like this is incident after incident after incident of players, you know, getting arrested. It's not like, okay, little misdemeanor here, a little parking violation here, you shouldn't have parked there. Like, no, these are serious things. And you know, I don't think, I'll be honest, like the Georgia football program, obviously right now, one of the best in the country, and they're going to be one of the favorites to win it again this year. I'm not sure if Kirby Smart right now is getting enough scrutiny for what this team is showcasing. And I get it. Once again, the talent outweighs the distractions. Yes, you have a lot of 5-star top recruiting class, NFL-ready players, and we celebrate that, and that's great. But on the other side of the things, you're still, and I get, like, the NIL now, it's more of a free market where these guys are in business for themselves. That's great. But as a head football coach, it is still your job. I'll die on this hill. It's still your job to help raise young men. And right now, I think when it comes to that, and you're Kirby Smart, you're failing. And I don't think he's really being held accountable enough for it as well. Yeah, I Duval Jack says everyone knows you don't speed through Georgia while traveling. I've done that, got 3 points for that. I have as well.
He says, I'm betting these kids didn't grow up in Georgia. But this is beyond, again, if somebody gets a ticket for going 82 in a 65 or 78 into 60, whatever it is. These are different incidents. These are, and this is, like you said, it's serial. It just won't stop. And that means it's not being addressed enough, or what you just said, and what I wonder now is, can you do anything about it? I mean, we had this conversation a little bit with Gundy. The approach of these guys are we continue to get rulings from the NCAA. These guys are employees, essentially, now for the university. And you don't have your thumb on them as much as you would as that parental figure, as its authoritative figure. They have a lot of power with dollars and also power to roam and go wherever they want. And with that, do you lose the disciplinarian part of it? Now, you can control their playing time, but if you want to squash their playing time, now they're going somewhere else. So if it's a really good football player, you have to balance that if you're a college football coach now or a college coach at any level. So has NIL, has transfer portal, have all these things that have opened up some more free space and freedom for the player and the student athlete now taken away the authoritative figure of the coach? And in doing so, you kind of lose a little bit of institutional control, because what is the answer to punish these guys? Gundy just said, I'm not punishing him. I'm playing him.
Yeah.
And so did he. That's why we had the topic the other day. Does he open the door now to say, hey, if you get one, you get one. Hope you're safe. We don't want it to happen, but you're going to play. Like, so what are the ramifications for these guys? You got to set a standard somewhere along the way.
No, I mean, it's one of the shivering truths that we deal with now, and I absolutely agree with you. I think it's a great point, Brent. The NIL has really taken away the jurisdiction of a coach. and what he can and cannot say to a player, what he can and cannot do to punish a player or a team, because any smoke of, I don't like this, you're gone. And I understand, once again, it's a free market, right? If you're not happy with your job that you're currently on, you have every single right to go someplace else and work. So I'm not saying it's bad, but hey, that's just the way that it is, and it's sad because there was a point where the top priority was leading young men, teaching young men how to get ready for the real world, and that is all but an afterthought now. At the same time, though, and I understand that it's not a good light, but you did lose a football player, and you did lose a staff member of your team due to reckless driving. They were killed. They lost their lives. And I understand that Kirby Smart can't monitor 70, 80 plus football players and then the staff in general, but that still happened on your watch. And these things, once again, with this reckless driving, are still happening. So at what point, if you're Kirby Smart, do you go, forget trying to care about everybody's feelings of losing transfers? We have a problem here at Georgia. This is an issue, and this needs to be addressed. We can't just go to the status quo and say, they'll figure it out. We can't go with what Oklahoma State's doing and saying, yeah, we all reckless drive. No, because once again, you've had families obviously affected. You've had players lose their lives because of this. So at what point is enough and you say, I don't care who I lose in the transfer portal, something has to be done here.
Yeah, somebody's going to have the guts to do that. Is it Kirby? Is it somebody else to still set a standard, and deal with the consequences after that? I think that's probably a university decision. I think that has to be, hey, president, hey, AD, hey, Kirby, right? Get in a room and be like, listen, this is not good. We can't do this. We have everything we're saying, I think, is true. They're probably discussing too. I only have so much power now, but do we want to bring the power back to us at the cost of a potential player or someone going somewhere else? We have built a good enough program where, hey, we're going to be really good at football. We're going to get a lot of good players in. We're going to get you to the NFL. Just look at the resume. We're going to win national championships. You're going to have a chance to be player of the year and Heisman Trophy winners and all this stuff. But we're also going to do it right. Georgia might be above anybody else in a powerful position to say, listen, we just won a couple of national titles. We almost won a third. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get you to the NFL, but we're also going to do it right. Somebody's going to have to step out and say that and do that and set the precedent. And even if that means you lost a good player to Florida because they're trying to catch up, and that guy's going to Florida now, and he might even beat you here in Jacksonville sometime. Will they have the guts to do it? And can they do it? I think Georgia is in a position to do it. I would think Florida right now is not in a position to do it, right? They're trying to catch up. So, I mean, this goes back to Urban at Florida. I mean, the stories that have come out of there, the documentaries that have been made, the books that still will be written. And, I mean, Urban did a kind of as a win at all costs, right? Yeah. It was a win at all costs thing. And it creates legacy and legend, but it also set the table for a little bit of their demise after he left. So, and that wasn't even in this landscape. I mean, he was doing that anyway. But I do think it's reality now. The college football coach, who I have claimed have set the table for all of this because they had claimed so much power. They had been too powerful, has now in their own locker room basically lost power. It appears when it comes to discipline and punishment and how this is going to impact and the domino effect. So we'll see. I think it's too new to even know. And we're not seeing this happen all across places, but we have two instances this week where we're talking about it with Gundy in Oklahoma State. And now again, this instance has been going on now for a couple of years at Georgia. Yeah. And I don't know if it's gotten enough attention because people still look at traffic incidents as traffic incidents and not like even different than a DUI in this case with Oklahoma State, but other bigger crimes that we have seen committed across college campuses or professional sports or whatever. We almost are numb to the fact that the serial events that have happened in vehicles at Georgia, but it's alarming, man. And they have got to be circling the wagons there administratively and trying to figure out what's the stop? What do we do? Are you not allowed to drive if you're a Georgia Bulldog? Like, yeah. What? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's It's crazy. And once again, I get it right now. And Hamby, put your earmuffs on. Like, I get, like, you are the mighty Georgia, and you've won the national championship. So right now it feels like you can kind of do whatever you want, and that's great. But keep doing this crap for a couple more years and see what happens. You know, because all of a sudden, like, it'll get to the point where it doesn't matter how many first-round draft picks you have, doesn't matter how many national championships you won. Like, your school will be put in a bad light if this keeps happening. So, once again, whether it's the AD, the leadership there, or Kirby Smart, I hope somebody eventually, makes a new standard and says, guys, this has to stop. We can't be doing this anymore.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do, how they can stop this, and in many other instances, by the way, in college football. And I think a lot of that depends on where you are in the pecking order. Right now, Georgia's in a heck of a spot. They're in a perch spot to really set the standard and maybe have other people follow along, too, and how to figure all this stuff out between discipline, power of play, or NIL, transfer portal, all the rest of it, and still trying to win football games and national championships. We're live at Best Bet St. Augustine. We'll take a break, come back and tell you about all the cool things happening here this weekend and in the month of July, which you want to get a chance to win that big golf cart that is here at Best Bet St. Augustine. You've only got a couple more weeks left to try to do that. We'll visit with Jesse Hollander in just a couple of moments when we return on the Brent and Austen Show on a Friday here at Best Bet St. Augustine. It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Let the playoffs begin, and looking back at a terrific debut season in our latest Armada Minute. Year one for the girls in blue is officially in the books, with head coach David Goff and his inaugural roster laying a foundation for years to come. The women's under-23 team finishes the year with 4 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, plus many memorable moments along the way. On the men's side, the playoff run kicked off in a big way on the campus of Edward Waters University with 9 goals in a dominating victory over the Miami Dutch Lions. Oliver Muller-Jensen adding to his team-leading tally with a second hat trick this year, now bringing his total to 9 goals scored in 2024. As the team looks ahead to 2025, they want you to join the movement and pick up your season ticket reservations for the inaugural MLS Next Pro season. You can do that at JacksonvilleArmada.com.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
I was tempted.
It's more than just food. It's a tradition, a heritage. It's about my family and the smiles on their faces. It's about the flavor, the meat, the love, the community. Our community. Barbecue is who we are. and it's what we do.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Springs, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, there's that golf cart. A couple more weeks to give that sucker away, and we'll talk about that right now here on the Brent and Austen Show at Best Bet St. Augustine. Brent Martineau along with Jesse Hollander. And, all right, how are we going to do that? I mean, you just pulling out of a hat?
Well,
Once you get all those raffle items?
It's a virtual drawing. So every hour you play from now or, the past few weeks, few months, up until July 27th, you get a virtual ticket for every hour you play. And that's whether you're playing in the poker room or in the table games.
Okay.
So you get a virtual ticket for every hour. You only need one. It only takes one. And on July 27th, we're going to draw all throughout the day. We have $1,000 drawings. Every hour starting at, I think, 1 o'clock leading up to the golf cart at 8 o'clock. And throughout that day, we also have high hands. We have $500 high hands in the poker room. We got $500 lucky seats all day long. We're just drawing a random person.
I love the lucky seat drawing.
Lucky seat drawings are awesome.
It's great.
You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is be here playing at any of the table games or in the poker room.
Yeah, I love that.
We're going to be packed on that day. And, yeah, like you said, there's still a couple weeks to get your hours in there, and it only takes one. It only takes one. It's a virtual drawing. We hit a button, and
that's I'm trying to envision it. The virtual drawing. Are you going to play it on a big screen or something like that? Will people be gathered around something to watch that
show
pop
it
up on a computer?
On all the TVs, not every TV, but on several TVs in the room. We'll make announcements at the podium. We're like, all right, here we go. We're getting ready to do our 2 p.m. drawing for $1,000. We hit the button, a name comes up on the screen, then it pops up on the TV screens. Everybody gets to see who wins, and then we make an announcement, and hopefully you're here.
All right. Yeah. Do you have to be here?
You have to. You got 60 seconds to show up and claim your prize.
How about for the golf cart?
Same thing.
Really?
Same thing. Yeah.
Wow, you better be here.
So you better be here.
That reminds me, I've been cleaning up at this time of year. You clean up a little bit. And so I find I found a Powerball ticket from 2010.
Yeah, that's not any good anymore.
It's not any good.
No.
And I'm like, I don't even want to look up the numbers and know if I won.
Just throw it away.
Just throw it away.
Just throw it away. I have one that's been sitting on my desk, and I know it's too old to check. So I have to do the same thing.
Do the same thing. It's funny. But so you better be here, by the way, on July 27th.
That's right.
That's going to be a fun day. That's buzzing then. I mean, because are people excited when other folks win, or are they just more disappointed because they didn't?
Well, a little of both. Everybody gets excited because you want the person to be here, and it's cool. Your friend just wins $1,000, and somebody else wins $500. So there's a lot of excitement in there. There is some camaraderie, so everybody wants to see everybody win some of the some of the, especially the free money,
Yeah, Jesse Hollander with us here on the Brent and Austen Show, Best Bet St. Augustine, here on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. We'll be here a bunch this month, by the way. We'll be here next Thursday and then the following Friday. So looking forward to hanging out back here at Best Bet St. Augustine. You were just hanging out in Las Vegas, World Series of Poker going on there. You had a convention as well. Give us a sense of that with the World Series of Poker kind of winding down and getting to that main event. Is there a buzz out there around that? I know there's always a buzz in Vegas. Can you even tell the difference?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of buzz. They broke the record again for the main event. A little over 10,100 and something players, all unique players, put up $10,000. I think they're down to 160 players now. It takes a long time. It's a very long event. All the preliminary events were good. The buzz was in the air. I was there for the Tournament Directors Association Summit, which happens every 2 years, which is a good time. We all get together and talk the latest and greatest things of tournament poker, if we should make any changes or just what's cool, what's fun, what's happening. And then play a little poker while we're there. Yeah,
well, that is the beauty of this industry, if you will.
Right.
You guys are always evolving and looking for the next creative thing, right? And
Sure.
game or trend, I would assume. I mean, it's something like that. I'm assuming you're paying attention to
absolutely.
what people are buzzing about.
There's new things like the mystery bounty tournaments are a big thing, and those have come on in the past year or so. We have one coming up in August, our Card Player Poker Tour. The main event is a mystery bounty format. And people like that, you make the money once you're in the money in the tournament, which is about 12.5% of the field usually. Every player you knock out, you get an envelope, and it could be anything from, in our tournament, anything from $500 to $50,000. So that's a lot of fun. Adds a level of excitement.
Yeah.
There's other innovative ways to run satellites, a milestone satellite where you win a satellite's a small tournament to win a seat into a big tournament. And in the milestone, rather than make it all the way to the end, if you just reach a certain level of chips, you're done. You're in.
That's awesome.
So just
Good stuff.
creative ways to keep it fun and interesting.
How's your game, by the way?
My game is okay, although apparently only okay. I did play a couple tournaments while I was out there, and I didn't fare so well.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a lot of time to play, unfortunately. But not this time.
Yeah, that's not always indicative, though, of your game necessarily, but it's got to be a combination of a little fortuitous.
It's got to be. I felt like I played pretty good in one tournament and not quite as well in another. To keep it real, so to speak. I could have played a little bit better in one tournament. The horse tournament at Aria, I felt like I played well, just didn't work out.
All right, we're talking about the golf cart, and that's obviously winding down after a few months. It's been a long time, so there's going to be a lot of names in that hat, and hopefully a lot of people here. What else coming up this weekend and this month here at Best Bet?
We have our Christmas in July promotion that starts tomorrow, and leading up to that, starting the 20th, so that'll be next weekend. That's good at all three locations. So the 20th, it's $2,000 every hour for the high hand. The 21st, $2,100. 22nd, $2,200, and the 23rd, $2,300 every hour in high hands. And you can win that right here in St. Augustine or Orange Park or Jacksonville. So it's a shared promotion. You can win it at all three locations. And not to tell you where you should play, however, you might as well come to St. Augustine, because while you're playing for the Christmas in July promotion, you're also earning tickets in to win the golf cart and all the cash going out on the 27th.
That's a good deal. Double whammy.
That's right.
Double whammy. All right, so you got some good stuff coming up. We'll be here to talk more about it over the next couple of weeks, too, and good to be back here at Best Bet St. Augustine as summertime. We're right in the middle of it. This is a good place to stop if people are going to the beach or have some lunch at Ace's Bar and Grill and
it's a little too hot outside, so it's nice and cool in here.
It is comfortable in here.
That's right.
It is comfortable in here, and plenty to watch on the big TVs. Plenty to do here at Best Bet St. Augustine. Jesse Hollander, always good talking to you and stopping by. Thanks for hanging with us for a few minutes. We'll take one more break here on the Brent and Austen Show. Come back. Might even have another special guest, and Austin will rejoin us as well. You have until July 27th to win that thing. That's going to be a fun day. A lot of excitement as a $30,000 worth of prizes on July 27th. New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code Brent20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations, Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning. 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
We all have our favorite spots in town to eat, drink, and have a good time. And once in a while, we try a new spot. This new spot will soon become your favorite spot. It's 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco. Where else can you get unicorn fish? It was really good. They have local fresh seafood. Try a terrific burger or a Jack's Hot Chicken sandwich. The ambiance is perfect for any occasion. The idea here is to have fun, have a good time. Whether you're chilling out on the couches, cozying up to the bar, having lunch or dinner, it's a throwback experience. 1937, when going out to dinner was like going to a party. They even have a photo booth. Who doesn't like a good photo booth? We recently brought the entire team out to try it, and everyone said, I'm bringing my significant other here to try it as well. The new spot becomes your favorite spot. Make 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco your new favorite spot.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, after the game airs today at 2 o'clock, Christopher Foy, former Jackson coach, Landmark coach, Fletcher coach on those staffs at the very least, and sometimes head coach, and now the head coach at Oakleaf High School. You got to check it out Tuesdays and Fridays, and now you can check it out on YouTube. We have a playlist set up for all the episodes, but they debut here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network Tuesdays and Fridays, and we actually have some replays at 6 o'clock at night on both days, too, so you can catch it even more often than that. That's presented by Baker Sports and Josh Baker, Kevin Sullivan, Christopher Foy this week, and next week it will be retired coach and legendary coach down here in St. Augustine, Joey Wiles, on the show. And the week following, Bobby Ramsey, who actually joined us yesterday from Main Street while we're at String Sports Brewery. So catching up with the coaches and the high school football scene, as that is just around the corner. First practice, July 29th. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, live from Best Bet St. Augustine. And one guy doesn't have to worry about the coaching, Kevin Sullivan. He doesn't have to worry about that July 29th first practice. You don't have to get ready for it.
No, sir, I don't have to get up and be there early in the morning, sweating, all sunscreen, long sleeves, hat, everything, none of that. Now I can just go down the beach and hang out if I want to do all that.
Austin, his shirt says it all. Nowhere to go, nowhere to be. Retired life is a beautiful thing. He was so bored he came up and said, hey, I'm going to come hang out with you today.
Coach, man, I love it.
I'm always coming to see you, Austin.
No, don't worry, man. I still have my son in here, so trust me, that's plenty. But I'm going to get one of those shirts, like an extra large, if you got it. Coach, a question that I have for you that, you know, I've always wondered with coaches, because with players, they'll probably tell you the same thing. Like, if you ask a player what he misses about the game, whether it's at the high school, the collegiate, or even the professional level, they're always going to probably say, I miss the locker room. I miss the guys in the locker room and that camaraderie. If I was going to ask a coach what he misses most, what do you think they would say? And obviously, what would you say as well, Coach?
Probably what I miss is the everyday interaction with the kids, not just the players, but the students in the building. And, you know, just being able to shoot the bull, talk to them, the coaching staff, the locker room, like the whole part about like the coaching part. That's a great. And I missed the coaching part maybe Friday night, but then, you know, my whole weekend's not ruined if we win or lose on Friday night. But I'd say it goes back to the kids. Like, I just really enjoyed being around the kids. I think that kept me young all those years, you know, even as I got older and everything, and just interacting and just stories after stories, or getting on the field and getting them grinding and just being around them, I think is probably the biggest thing.
Hey, Coach, what does it say
so
about...
no different, really. No, go ahead. No different than a player, really, I guess, in many respects, right?
Exactly. And I always say, like, you know, I think high school or even like Pop Warner, it's the purest form of football, right? Like, I feel like you had some of that in college, but now with the NIL and everything, and obviously winning's got to be the premium. Like, Coach, would you agree with me here when you say, like, there's nothing better than high school football in terms of the memories and the friendships and obviously the camaraderie, just because when you go on to the next level now of the collegiate game, it's almost turned into the pros where it's almost more like a business than it really is like, you know, the quote-unquote love of the game.
Well, I mean, I think you hit it on the head, and it is like the purest form of football. Well, it used to be. It seems to be getting a little trashy and dirty now, but that's a whole other topic we could talk about. But, you know, I think what's neat about the high school thing, and as a high school coach, that really we enjoyed the most was getting that lanky, 6'1", 165-pound kid in ninth grade that, you know, couldn't put his knee pads in right, put him in backwards, or put him in where his thigh pads were. And watching that young man develop from ninth grade to 10th grade to junior year. And, you know, I always tell a story about we had a young man, Eddie Holland, that played for us. And sophomore year, didn't really play much. Junior year, played a little bit more, but really put on weight and went from like 180 to 225 his senior year. Was 6'4" and was a starter and a contributor. And that kid hung in there and knew eventually his time would come, and he did a great job. But we got to watch him develop every year, get better, and finally the weight stayed on, and he was a contributor. I think he had like 15 sacks his senior year. Just a tremendous thing. And those are the things like we talk about all the great players that you've coached that have gone on to college. Good players. I've only had one great player, but that have gone on and done things. But I always talk about those kids that you've seen develop that maybe played D3 or didn't play at all and went into the workforce or went into service or whatnot. And man, those are the kids I really enjoy seeing and talking to.
Yeah, those are the stories that you tell at the Nowhere to Go Grill. That's right.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's just like, I don't know if I've told you all this story, but I think it was 07, 08, 09. I don't know. We're getting ready to go on the field. We've been there, 10 years, pretty established, winning a bunch every year. And I look out there, and there's like all the kids are lined up to stretch. It's like 7:30 in the morning, getting ready for what was 2-a-days back then. And I look out there, and there's all these kids out there lined up. And I look back, and there's one kid at the end, and he's got like a purple helmet on. And I'm like, whoa, what the heck? What did one of these ninth graders do in bringing their Pop Warner helmet to practice, right? So I go out there, and I'm getting in, the kids are going out, and I look, and I go, hey, what are you doing? The kid turned around, and it's a grown-ass man with a full beard coming out. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? He goes, hey, man, Coach, I just come out to get some reps. I'm playing semi-pro. I thought maybe I could get a workout in with y'all. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. And he like looks at me, and he like shakes his head, and he goes, well, can I at least run around the field? And I'm like, yeah, man, but you can't work out with us either. Like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. They'll get me fired. Get out of here. And he like got all sad face and go. And one of our seniors laughed and looked at me and was like, I've seen everything now, Coach. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. And that Coach, he literally thought he was going to come and get a workout with us.
So, Coach, it's funny you bring that up. That reminds me, Jim McCarville, a guy from where I grew up in Iola, Scandinavia. His cousin actually was the number 1 draft pick of the WNBA. She played in Minnesota, but long story short, Jim McCarville played a D2 ball at St. Cloud State. Guy just loved the game of football, offensive lineman. And, he was back home for the summer. We had a summer camp, and lo and behold, we were all on our pads and everything, and here comes Jim McCarville in his St. Cloud gear wanting to practice with, us high schoolers. And Coach let him for a little bit until, we thought it was going to be kind of like a fun, just like, all right, we're seeing what the next level is all about. But Jim took it like it was literally like a college practice and put everybody, including myself, on our backs because it's just the way that he conducted business, I guess. I don't know. But it was
right.
Yeah, but it's just, I think Coach 2 was like, this might be a violation here. You better shut this down.
I think we should get Austin out to like a sandalwood practice. We'll just have him to show up.
Oh, let's go.
I just enrolled. Where do I go? Like in Remember the Titans when the big guy come running up. Said, I'm just here to play football. Where do I go?
Hey, got to ask you about Bill Belichick as an analyst, how you guys feel about him, I guess, joining one of the shows. But before we do that, we were just talking about Kirby Smart and what's going on with Georgia and really what Mike Gundy this week and what's going on there. It feels like, Coach, that these college coaches who I say are so powerful have lost so much power because of NIL and transfer portal. Like, is that the case? Have they lost a little bit of institutional control of their locker room? And I don't know. I guess the best way for me to say it is that authoritative figure where people used to be afraid of the coach.
Right.
Have they lost that?
Well, I mean, it's two sort of different things, like the DUI, and then I heard y'all. I was driving in, listening to y'all, and I heard you talk about, it's just a traffic accident, but really, I mean, a reckless driving or racing or whatever they got. But I mean, they had that tragedy. It ain't a year, right?
Yeah,
a little bit over a year, maybe. Yeah. And So to me, that's a red flag. But how are you, like, your leadership in your locker room? Like, your guys are like, are you kidding me? Like, we're going to go out and race each other after what happened last year? To me, that's a little different. I've known Kirby a lot of years. I've known Kirby when he was a GA at Florida State. I have a pretty good relationship, and he pretty much no nonsense on that. I'll be curious to see if they do take a little time from him. I'm sure they open up with somebody that might not be great, or they got Clemson this year, right?
They actually do have Clemson,
Oh, yeah, so they won't suspend him for that game, but maybe the second game they might suspend him for. But I don't know. That's a tough spot. I agree with what you said. If they're now going to be employees of the university, and you get a DUI as an employee of the university or employee anywhere, there are ramifications that come down from the university now.
Yeah.
So they might end up superseding whatever the coach does or whatnot, because if you're an employee of you're a reflection of that university.
That might be the way to do it, really, guys. Like, that might be the way to put almost like when you get to you go to a job almost anywhere now, you get a handbook, right? An employee handbook. Mm-hmm. And hey, this is I don't know if the handbook even says punishment for X violation.
Right.
I wonder if there's a committee or a board or a book or a stipulation that takes it out of the coach's hands. And the coach is now like, listen, I can't help you out. Like, because the coaches always helped them out, right? The coaches have always.
Right, that's out of my hands now.
But now it's out of my hands. I don't know if they'd advocate for that. They don't want the other side of campus dealing with that stuff because they don't trust the other side of the campus. They want to be able to control it as big-time coaches. But I just don't know where the power shift is going to end up. And Austin, as we were saying, it's hard to set a standard right now of discipline, I would think, in your organization, which it used to be in your football program. But now it's kind of in an organization. No different than, I mean, listen, Zay Jones had an incident last year, and that worked out differently. But in the immediate, I mean, he was going to play the next week, right? It wasn't like Doug was going to suspend him, right? Now, the NFL can come over the top on some of those things and say, hey, we'll take this off your hands. And I guess that's what I'm kind of wondering. Mm-hmm. Will the president of the school or will the board of the school come over the top sometime now and take it off their hands, much like the NFL does to coaches and teams most of the time?
And this is the difference between
another thing.
Oh, go
ahead,
Coach.
Austin.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
No. You go ahead, because I'll come in after you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just going to say, that the NFL and the pro game, it's a little different than the college game simply because, like the Zay Jones situation, you're still under contract. So the coach can essentially do whatever he wants to do, whether you got to get in front of the team, speak your piece, you have to do community service, you have to maybe run, sprints. Like, whatever the case may be, you're kind of under that jurisdiction. We talked about this a little bit before the last break, Brent. When we talk about the college landscape now, I think coaches almost coach out of fear now in terms of rubbing a player the wrong way. That player leaving, going someplace else, and having to play that player on Saturday against him. So it's, what used to be about shaping young minds, building young men, has now kind of turned into a landscape of a little bit of fear. And me and Nick were talking about this during the break. I mean, I hope it becomes eventually, and maybe it's just wishful thinking, where morality will always win out, right? Where if Georgia keeps going down this road of people getting in trouble with the driving, eventually morality is going to win out and Kirby Smart will be held accountable. It hasn't happened yet. I hope no other allegations come out and other people get hurt. But I'm just saying, I hope we get that world one day where it's like, all right, maybe you are the football coach, maybe you're making millions of dollars for your university, but what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Stand up for your program, stand up for yourself, stand up for what you believe in, and address this stuff.
Well, I think you're right there. And the other aspect of it, what happened is the guys driving those cars, NIL, is with a car dealer.
Yeah.
And they're driving in the car dealer's car, which is leased, and they get in an accident, or they get the DUI. Now, does that company become liable too on that retrospect of this guy's representing us driving our car, and now he's out there foolishly speeding and everything? So I think there's a lot of factors, but I do like what you said about that, Austin, about the morality of everything that's going to come up. They're supposed to go to college to get an education and grow up a little bit too, and some of them it takes longer than others. We know that. Sure. But again, the goal of the high school coach and the college coach is to try to groom and make their people, better human beings to be better citizens in the world. And I don't know if that's going out the window.
Yeah. And I don't know if we want to admit it is or it has, right? Like, or it will be. And I think it's an interesting point. We haven't gotten to this. I don't think we've seen major headlines on the NIL stuff yet, where somebody has stripped a player from the NIL deal. But we've seen that all the time now in sports, right? Whether it's political beliefs or something somebody said that they don't agree with, or controversy or whatever it might be, and they're like, okay, Nike is no longer sponsoring X player.
Right.
Will we see? I mean, I'm sure we're going to see it. We probably have already experienced it. We just don't know. It might not have been a big enough sponsor or big enough deal or big enough player to make the headlines, or maybe I just missed it. But that's another facet of this that, maybe we get to a point where that does happen, a time or two or three, and then the players become very cognizant of that. Like, wait a minute, I'm getting a $250,000 check for this. I don't want to lose that.
Right.
Like, you used to be afraid of losing your scholarship. Now you're like, I don't want to lose that $250,000 check. So it's fascinating. Hey, speaking of fascinating, Bill Belichick is joining Inside the NFL. And here's my fascination part of it, guys, with Belichick specifically, but even players and coaches. Players and coaches now are littered across our medium in TV or our industry in broadcasting. And it's not like this is new. It certainly trended probably way back in, I would say, the early to mid 90s that it really started to turn to having player analysis and not play-by-play guys, but color analysts, and then in the studio shows. And look what we've seen. I mean, Nate Burleson is such a great example of this. I mean, this is a guy that went from playing and had a decent career to Good Morning Football to now him and guys like Strahan are on these national news shows, not even talking sports really. So it's been a fascinating evolution because, like, I take a guy like Strahan, and I think it's interesting that he's part of the media, because I remember a Giants training camp in Albany, New York, where he would not talk to the media the entire 5 weeks because my boss at the time made it a mission to ask him every day if he would talk, so he had to say no. And just didn't let him off the hook easy. And I just remember that. That's why I know he didn't talk. I think he was going through a contract dispute or something like that. But these guys have always had, not always, but some have had volatile relationships with the media. Belichick is like the worst. I mean, he's the worst press conference of all time. And yet we probably can't tune in now, Austin. Can't wait to tune into Inside the NFL to get a peek at his football knowledge. I just hope he's able to educate us and keep us awake while doing it.
No, listen, if you would have asked me a year ago, Bill Belichick's going to Inside the NFL, what do you think, Austin? It's going to be a snooze fest. But I don't think anybody, and I'm being honest here, I don't think anybody in the past year has recreated themselves in terms of image and perception more than Bill Belichick. Sorry, Beyonce going to country music. You're a close second. But Bill Belichick has you beaten. Here's why, Brent. Like, all we have to go off of a Bill Belichick for the past, decade and a half was the press conferences and what his players said about him. And it was kind of always the same narrative. Man, he's hard-nosed. It's not really that fun playing for him. You're going to win a lot of games, but it's not a fun environment to be in. Then what happens this past year? We see a little more Bill Belichick coming out of his shell. I mean, I think it started really with the draft when it was the COVID year, when he was home with his dog or whatever like that. Like, he had fun with that. But then we see him at the Tom Brady roast, doing shots with Gronk and Brady and, roasting people. Like, that was so uncharacteristic of what I expected from Bill Belichick. And by the way, guy's also dating a 27-year-old now. And this isn't breaking news.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
This is very common. That's a story in itself. Like, is it a dating app thing? Like, how did he get that? Like, what do you go to a 27-year-old and say, Bill? Like, you're way past the hill. So, that's impressive.
Wait till the TikTok video starts coming out.
Yeah, for sure. So, listen, I always say, one of the best compliments I can give somebody is, I would want to have a beer with that person, right? Coach, one day maybe I can have a beer with you. I'd gladly do that. Brent, we've had beers before. I'll see more beers with you down the road. When it came to Bill Belichick, I never envisioned ever having a beer with this guy. He just seemed like, just too, I don't want to say stuck up, but just too kind of in his own way. And what I proceeded to Bill Belichick to do after he retired was, okay, Go find another job. Go watch film. Go back to another girl who's like your age or even older. That's what I expected. I didn't see this Bill Belichick coming out, and now it's fun. And now I'm intrigued. I want to tune into Inside the NFL and see what he's got to say.
It's almost like you get to feel like Robert Kraft has inspired him in older age. No, free. No, you're thinking the massage parlor thing.
That's all I can think. Yeah, it's Robert Kraft.
I know. Yeah, but Kraft has become a guy that's like walking around in sneakers in the suit as a billionaire. Helping Meek Mill and becoming like, he's like in videos and in conversations and in stories with like famous rappers and musicians and actors. Like he's like, I don't look at him as this cool old man, but I think his persona has become like, hey, he's that cool old guy. Like it's got a little, it's got a little Playboy House type feel to it, and by the way, and I think Kraft has had like a very younger relationship too. It's just interesting that these two guys, and I don't even know how great they get along now or love each other now. I got to believe they still do to some degree, but it's like it's like Belichick's following in Kraft's footsteps in this regard.
Yeah.
Once he got out of football and once he didn't have to be serious. But it begs this question, guys. If you're doing all this stuff, let's just say there's a job opening next year. Can he go back? Can he revert back? Does it make him more attractive as a candidate because you're seeing an actual personality in today's world where everything has gotten younger and younger and younger? Does this make him more hip? Is this part of the reason he's actually shifted to make himself feel more attractive for one more job to hopefully chase down Don Shula's record? How calculated is this, I guess, Coach? Is it?
You could say that because he figured maybe in Atlanta that was the knock on him, that he was so gruff and grunt, not want to be and interact with people and have conversation. I know Leon told me when he was in New England that one time, he said literally walk down the hallway and Belichick walk right by him and not say a word to him, not look at him, nothing, just keep on going about his business. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what sort of stuff started getting out, and he was like, well, if I'm going to get another shot next year, one of these jobs open, maybe I need to change a little bit and date me a 27-year-old and, get on. But I'll tell you what, the football part of him being an analyst and stuff will be really good. You know what I mean? I think that'll be really good. Hopefully it won't be too much over people's heads, but he can really break down some stuff. It's sort of like Peyton Manning and Eli and stuff, what they do. I think Belichick will be really, really good.
Yeah, and Brady's figured that out too, right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Tom Brady's definitely figured it out, and I think he's kind of found his little niche as well. And when you talk about Bill Belichick, look at Mike Vrabel as well. I think these are two guys who are cut from the same cloth, who run organizations the same way, who can't find a job right now. And two coaches, obviously Bill Belichick, one of the GOATs, and Mike Vrabel, who really what he was given for his players, I think overachieved by a lot. And still can't find a job right now. So, yeah, I think it does come into you can't really have that old school mentality, that old school demeanor anymore and try to be a successful football coach, or at least that's what ownership thinks. It's just wild, Brent, where, back in 2011, 2012, Dave Caldwell was all about, okay, I want to get guys that have wives and everything. That was kind of the narrative of the Jacksonville Jaguars organization, is like they're into players who have wives. I was this close to trying to go on a website and try to find me a Russian mail order bride so I can keep my job here. It's crazy now how we talk about how it's shifted to, oh, he's got a 27-year-old girlfriend? Yeah, let's give him another shot. Why not? Let's do it.
It's crazy. It is. I'll tell you what, if this is a calculated image repair type move for Belichick, that's wild. You talk about a deep dive if that is the case. We do have some fantastic, or at least fascinating analysts entering the fray. Brady and Belichick are two of the best to ever do it. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to see them in front of microphones more often dissecting football. I think that is actually a treat for a football fan. Mm-hmm. We'll see. And speaking of really good football minds, and probably one that doesn't get enough attention, I was almost put off by the headlines yesterday when Monty Kiffin passed away at the age of 84. And the headline reads, I think even on ESPN still, and I get you got to relate to your younger audience, but Monty Kiffin, father of Lane, was the way they said it, passes away. And I'm like, really? Like, this father of late, and I don't want to get into the Kiffin's business, but it's like at times he probably wishes he wasn't, right? Like, but this is a guy that's one of the best. He's one of the best innovators on defense of all time in the NFL. His influence is all over the place, including here in Jacksonville. Gus Bradley was a Jags coach, heavily influenced with Kiffin. Kiffin was actually an assistant in 2016. I was just struck by that headline, but Tampa 2 defense, guys, you guys know football. How impactful has that been, Austen, on the game, and especially at the NFL level, but even at the collegiate level?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he kind of revolutionized, what a defense can look like and everything. And, that's kind of echoed down now to his son a little bit. I didn't see that headline, and I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have felt a certain type of way about it. But no, the dude's an absolute legend in terms of coaching, more specifically, in terms of defensive coaching. One of the OGs, and definitely a visionary, a revolutionary, if you will. And yeah, I mean, I think when we talk about legacy and in football, Brent, championships are a big thing, but it's also, are people still using what you implemented? And the answer is yes. And to me, that's one of the ultimate compliments of how great of a coach you were. So obviously a dude who brought a lot to the game.
And Coach, this is a little bit like the Ryan family too, right? Everybody now knows the kids more than Dad.
Well, the thing about Monty, anybody that's followed NFL football for any amount of time knows that name, knows Monty Kiffin, just because if you looked on all the people that came out and talked on Twitter and said something about him, or this guy influenced me, or I coached with him here, or I played under him for a year in Tampa, or wherever else he was at. It's really interesting, because that's like a long arm tree. Oh, yeah. His tree you talk about, from guys he's coached to guys that coach with him. I mean, there's an unbelievable guy. Not talking about how, on the other side of it, how good a coach is his son, because his dad was so good on defense.
I was thinking the same thing.
How much did he bounce off of him over the years that's made him like a better coach? He's a really good offensive mind. Lane is. And so I find it really interesting, just the whole dynamic of what a life, what impact the man's had over the years.
As you guys were talking, I was thinking about that same exact thing. It is fascinating when you look at the Manning family. We just talked about the Manning family, I think, earlier this week. And Archie, quarterback. Peyton, quarterback. Eli, quarterback, and Cooper, I think, was going to be a receiver, obviously, before his career got cut short, but still, quarterback. Arch Manning, quarterback, right? That offensive side of the ball. This is the Ryan family. Well, defense, right? This is totally different. I mean, you really do. You're right. Like Lane Kiffin, I know he comes with some interesting stuff, but right now in the college game, he is one of the great offensive minds, and maybe even beyond that, but they have, and they don't like to play defense much there at Ole Miss, but they'll score it. So it's pretty wild that Dad did defense and he did offense. And I was going to say that's alone wild, but I think you just hit the secret sauce. He grew up all his life probably trying to find the answers to beat Dad's defense, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I guarantee you, like, he's like, hey, we're playing so-and-so, and they run this and this, and I want to do this and that. What do you think? And he'd be like, well, you're going to be soft here. They're going to give you this, so take advantage of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure.
Here's the weak spot, right?
Since he was from FIU to Ole Miss, he's been with them. He's been there, living, being a consultant. I know at FAU he was down there because Tony Piccarello was the D coordinator, and that's how I got to meet Monty through my friend Tony. Who I believe is at Murray State right now, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go.
Oh,
yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I find interesting about that. Like, that's been really good, but tremendous football coach. Everybody talks highly about him personally, Monty Kiffin, football-wise, but generally a good dude.
All right. Hey, let's do this. Take a timeout. One more, and then we'll put a bow on the show. A couple more things to get to here before we end it from Best Bet St. Augustine on a Friday, heading into the weekend in style. And by the way, when we come back next week, it will be the last full week without football here in Jacksonville for quite some time, as training camp is just around the corner. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Kevin Sullivan, Nick in the daytime, finishing the week in style on the Brent and Austen Show on Action Sports Jack's 24/7 network right after this.
New to town or always been in town, everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code Brent20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations, Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jacks and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
We all have our favorite spots in town to eat, drink, and have a good time. And once in a while, we try a new spot. This new spot will soon become your favorite spot. It's 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco. Where else can you get unicorn fish? It was really good. They have local fresh seafood. Try a terrific burger or a Jack's Hot Chicken sandwich. The ambiance is perfect for any occasion. The idea here is to have fun, have a good time. Whether you're chilling out on the couches, cozying up to the bar, having lunch or dinner, it's a throwback experience. 1937, when going out to dinner was like going to a party. They even have a photo booth. Who doesn't like a good photo booth? We recently brought the entire team out to try it, and everyone said, I'm bringing my significant other here to try it as well. The new spot becomes your favorite spot. Make 1937 Spirits and Eatery in San Marco your new favorite spot.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Last little segment before we head out here for the weekend. Already got a foot in the parking lot. Nick in the daytime has been constructing something, an architect, if you will. We can share this, Nick, right? Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of, NCAA football is dropping next week, correct?
Yep.
And we're going to have a little bit of a tournament.
Let's see if we can get us another 2 people together, make it 8.
Gonna have an
8-man tournament going.
An in-studio tournament. Pride is definitely on the line and everything. I mean, do we have to pick our respective states and everything?
You can if you want to. You don't have to.
Well, who's Brent gonna take?
I don't know. What's a North?
I'm not playing.
Team. Oh, he's
not. Oh, come on,
right.
Brent.
You had to find something.
I'm gonna be out that Friday. I got a big meeting.
That's right. You're gonna be eating some more lobster bisque on the boat.
That's kind of why we're. That's right. That's kind of why we're doing this.
Yep. Lobster bisque on the boat. I got it.
I would be. By the way, I would be either Boston College. Can I go a throwback team with Doug Flutie, or Notre Dame?
No, this is current. You can't go. This isn't like the vintage mode here. We're going current teams. I have to pick Wisconsin and try to learn how to throw the football because I haven't seen them do that in the past couple decades. But now all of a sudden they're like an air raid type of offense. So I got to figure that out, Brent.
I don't know who I would pick. Again, I don't have a college football team, right? So I don't. That's why I was going. There were a lot of Notre Dame fans up there. My wife's family, big Notre Dame fans too. And Boston College is a team I don't think I rooted for them. I rooted for Flutie. I liked the Flutie stuff when I was a kid. I'm not going with Brown University, okay? I don't think I'm going to win many games if I go with those guys. So, I got to probably create a team, and we'll call them Ashland University or something out of the D2 ranks. I did, it's interesting. You guys were talking about this again because the college football game comes out as Brent Martineau, Kevin Sullivan back here at Best Bet St. Augustine, Austin Lane, and Nick in the daytime talking about this game comes out Tuesday and maybe doing an 8-team tournament next Friday during the show. And I thought, man, you could really find or keep track of the players that have moved around in this game and see how they might fit. And so I just saw a headline where Dylan Gabriel is now the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And They said Oregon's Dylan Gabriel. I'm like, shoot, he's in Oregon. He's at Oregon now. I mean, that was a UCF kid who went to Oklahoma, right? And now at Oregon. And you almost have to be. This game could very much help us remind where everybody is in college football, I guess is what I'm saying, Austin.
So, yeah, without a doubt. And my son right now is frothing out the mouth because you mentioned Oregon because he has his headphones on right now listening to the show. And actually, Gene Purnett yesterday, guest and friend of the show, Gene Purnett, gave Ronan a little TED Talk about Oregon football and them getting Dylan Gabriel. And I believe since it's his 6th year with the COVID year, if Dylan Gabriel balls out this season, I think he might set the record for most passing yards in NCAA history. I think is what Gene was referring to or something like that. So obviously my son is super excited for that.
I think Gabriel's interesting on the way today's world works, right? You think of UCF and you don't think of it in the likes of Oklahoma and Oregon and the national landscape. And quite frankly, they haven't been. But now they're a Big 12 school. Yeah. And so soon enough, I think they can be. I think it's a sleeping giant at UCF. I think they have a chance in the middle of the state. Now join the big conference, be able to play with the budget that the big boys are playing with. Really could go on a nice run. I would not be surprised in the next 5 or 10 years when we look up and say, hey, UCF's right up there with Florida and Florida State and from year to year. I mean, it might change, but I think they now can play ball in those areas.
And I think they got the right coach too.
And it seems
UCF, because he's an offensive mind.
Yeah, true. So utilize the speed and everything else, and they've done some nice things already. But I guess my point was Gabriel getting an opportunity to go to UCF and land at a place like Oklahoma and Oregon, I do think is kind of the nature of where the transfer portal and other things were meant to be. Give a kid an opportunity, if he earns it, to go play at that next level. I don't necessarily think it was meant to be NFL free agency, which is what it's become, unfortunately.
Well, I think you're right there, and that's what a lot of the FCS coaches. They know that they may only, if they hit the gem, Jared Verse being because he went to Buffalo and had 2 scholarship offers.
Yeah.
And then he
went to University at Albany, by the way.
Uh-huh.
University at Albany.
That's right. Not Buffalo, I'm sorry. Albany. And he blew up. And then he goes to Florida State and, he's top 10 draft pick or whatever. And just amazing that. And that's what those FCS schools, I've got a couple guys that I know that coach in those, and they know that's the nature of the beast, and they're not going to be able to compete, especially if a kid blows up and does what he's supposed to do. And you probably will be like, okay, if I'm the FCS coach, I discovered him, I found him, we've developed him for 3 years, and now he's going to go to, Georgia or Georgia Tech or wherever and finish. I mean, you can't be upset. To me, those things you can't be upset. What I could be upset about is you're at the University of Oklahoma starting quarterback. You're getting ready to go play in the SEC, but then you say, "Now I'm going to go to Oregon because Bo Nix went to Oregon and blew it up, became a top 10 draft pick."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's tough to handle. So, Austin, give me the because I don't know where this tournament is in terms of the landscape of actually happening. I know it's a concept. Do you have confidence that Nick in the daytime, and again, you're bigger than Nick, he can't do anything to you. So you can be honest here. You don't have to just be nice to Nick because he's in the drive-thru over there. Do you have confidence that he's actually going to pull this off as part of the show next Friday?
No, well, first of all, I am going to be nice to Nick in the daytime because, like we like to call him around here, the human enigma. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a third-degree black belt in Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu because every single day it's something new with this dude. So I'm not going to talk smack about him. Dude could be a silent assassin, and I may not even know it, okay? And, yeah, Ronan, you better be careful, too, as well around that dude. I think we're spearheading it like we're going to do this thing. Looking for some more players because, once again, I guess, going on a boat and eating lobster bisque is more important than, team bonding and team unity. That's fine. We're still looking for some more players, so I think Nick is trying to do that right now. But by all indications, because he's going to spend the money on the game getting it early, I think we'll have a tournament next week.
All right, maybe we'll chip in, or at least I'll chip in. We'll throw it in there if it turns out good. But I'm not chipping in unless it ends up being a thing.
Well, I mean,
is Ty going to be with you on the boat? Or is Ty on the boat with you?
Ty's not on the boat.
Oh, there you go. Get Ty in. I'm ready to go.
I mean, Brent, if you want to chip in too, I also need another PlayStation 5 controller. So go ahead and put that in the kitty as well, and I'll appreciate you.
I do have two mixers right here, so maybe I could throw that in there. PlayStation controller.
I mean, backyard fireplace. We got two mixers. Brent, I told you what Ernest Beyer once told us after, before the last game against Tennessee when we had a 2-win season. Never get comfortable. Never get comfortable, because as soon as you get comfortable is when you got to walk away. Is it time for you to walk away, Brent Martineau? Mr. Two Mixer?
It's time to go. We got 5 seconds left in the show. So have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, Kevin
Sullivan. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
Later, Coach.